A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger. C is for cut. B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef. And Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. It's a fact, ladies. And here's the reason Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. So you can see that means more meat for your money. You get top U.S. government grades of beef, meat that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. You get a better value in top-grade beef. For example, when you buy a Kroger-cut porterhouse steak, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes the long, stringy end and excess waste before the steak is weighed and priced. You don't pay steak price for stringy meat and excess waste. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, you receive more meat, less waste. But see for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store, get Kroger cut beef, and get more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. The illness of Penny Gibbs' foster father, Jed, has been a mystery from the start. So there's considerable excitement in the Gibbs home when Dr. Ryan comes to see Jed this morning. He said he had news for them all, but he wanted to see Jed first. So behind closed doors, Dr. Ryan says to Jed,
Jed, I suppose you want to know why I've run your family out of the room and closed the door.
I never have been able to understand half what doctors did, and I don't think I'll try to start now.
Well, I don't understand how you fellows build bridges and lay roadways and design houses either. But I suppose you have a reason for everything you do, same as I have one for what I do.
Well, now, let me guess the reason for all this.
I think you can.
Maybe so. It's those reports you've heard from that doctor in New York.
Yes, Jed, I sent him all the data I could, the results of all the tests I've made. And I let him read everything those doctors up in Mapleton had to say about your illness, too.
And what's the verdict, Doctor?
Jed, I've known you a long time. I know the stuff you're made of. You're a good, solid man, or I wouldn't tell you what I'm about to tell you.
There's no hope, eh?
Jed, there's always hope. Scientific laboratories all over the world, men are working constantly to help doctors with their problems.
And I'm a doctor's problem, am I?
Not you, but what's wrong with you is... Jed, there's no known cure. What's wrong with you is a rare and unusual thing. No drug, no treatment known to medical science has any effect on it.
In other words, here I sit in this wheelchair, and here I'm going to sit the rest of my days, or years.
Jed, that's not the way to look at it. That's the way it is, yes, but that's saying medical science is going to stand still from this day on. That's saying laboratories are going to be padlocked. Chemists and research men are going to spend the rest of their lives playing golf, and youngsters aren't going to go to medical school from now on, and that the doctors now practicing are going to say, we know all we want to know right now. Please don't anybody tell us anything new. Now, you don't believe that, Jed.
No, of course I don't believe the doctor. I know you're going to keep on trying to help me, but aren't you pretty sure, deep down in your heart, that I'll go from this wheelchair to the grave?
I'm not sure of any such thing. Some of the ailments we consider harmless today were considered fatal years ago, and were fatal 9 cases out of 10.
Years ago, you say. Years from now, you'll have a cure for this. But how many years do I have left?
That's hard to say. And it's just as hard to say how many years will pass before we can find a cure for what you have. It may not be years at all. It may happen tomorrow.
Or it may not happen at all.
I won't deny that. It may not happen at all. But you may get well without us. Your body may have the cure.
In plainer words, then, Dr. Ryan, you're being forced to admit that if I get well, it'll be just plain luck. Not a very bright picture, is it?
No, it's not. It's dark, black as it can be. But I'm sure you'd rather know the truth than to expect to get better as time goes on and then be disappointed.
Yes, I want to know the truth, Doctor. The fact is, I suspected the truth some time ago. Just the other day I was talking to Grace, and I told her I'd never get well.
Jed, it's not right for you to say you'll never get well. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, as far as we know now, there's no chance of your getting well. But medical research doesn't stand still. Today, tomorrow, a month, a year from now, some new drug will be discovered. Some new treatment developed that will change the entire picture for you.
I'm well aware of that, but aren't you saying it just to salve the pain of truth?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you what any doctor will tell you. I don't know how to help you now, but tomorrow I may find out how. Jed, you're not going to fail me, are you? You're not going to break under this, are you?
Do you think I am?
I certainly hope you aren't.
Look, Doctor, I have faith in you and what you tell me. You have faith in me and what I tell you. Well, that's fair enough, isn't it?
That's what I've been waiting to hear you say.
Just one favor, Doctor, just one.
Name it.
Don't tell Grace this just now. Let me tell her, in my own time and in my own way.
I thought you'd already spoken to her about it.
Oh, that was before I had the medical facts. It was just my own feeling in the matter. But now when I tell her, it won't be just what I think, but what I know.
Well, if you think I'll be too blunt about it,
I have no quarrel with the way you've come right out with the truth. It's the best way. But I know Grace, and I know how easily she's hurt. Better let me break it to her.
All right, Jed. And the same goes for Penny, I suppose?
No, not exactly. You can tell Penny if you want. She's a lot more sturdy than her mother. I think it might be a good idea for Penny to hear it from you. I'll forget some of the scientific facts.
Well, I won't go out of my way to talk to Penny, but if I see her, I'll...
Tell her the truth about me, Dr. Ryan. Then watch a change come over her face.
Maybe her face will change, Jed, but her heart will remain the same.
You won't let me hope, will you? You won't let me think that someday soon, even though I never get well, I'll not be a burden to that child.
You know she'll never think of you as a burden.
All right. You win. You doctors always do. So, tell her the terrible truth. Go tell her that as long as I live...
Jed, listen to me. If you want to get well, and I know you do, you've got to fight something. Not just the illness, because fighting that won't do much good. But you've got to fight the feeling that you're a burden to those you love and those who love you. What are friends and family for but to help at times like this? If you were a stranger from off the streets, it would be different. You might be called a burden then, but you're not a stranger. Therefore, you're not a burden.
Don't I seem a stranger in this wheelchair?
You're the same Jed Billings who walked around on his own 2 feet a few weeks ago. The same Jed Billings who made people laugh. The same Jed Billings who brought so much happiness to others. Well, now it's time you were repaid for what you've done for others. Maybe this illness of yours is God's way of seeing that others are forced to return a little of what you've given them. Look at it that way, Jed. Remember, I'm a man of science. God sometimes brings his blessings in strange ways. This may be one of them. Think about that, will you?
Yes, I'll think about it, Doctor.
Think about it and rest. And don't rush the idea of getting well. There's plenty of time for that. Well, I'll see you tomorrow and we'll talk again.
All right.
Goodbye, Jed, and come on, cheer up.
Don't worry, I will. Send Grace in to me, will you?
Right away. Bye.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Dr. Ryan.
Oh, hello, Penny. Where's your mother?
Oh, she's in the kitchen getting Jed's lunch.
Jed wants to see her right away, but I think when she brings up his lunch, it'll be soon enough.
How is he, Dr. Ryan?
I'd like to talk to you about that. But Jed doesn't want your mother to know the worst. Not just now, at any rate.
What do you mean, the worst?
Well, I think I'll put it to you even more bluntly than I put it to him. I tried to cloud the truth in a little hope for him. But I'll make it very clear to you if you want.
Yes, I want it that way, Dr. Ryan.
Well, Penny, the clear, unclouded truth is that barring miracles, Jed will never walk again.
I thought that's what it'd be.
Well, now you know that's what it is. Knowing what it is, your next step is
I'll get it, Mother.
Good afternoon, Miss Gibbs.
Oh, hello, Miss Dodge.
Can I come in? Or is Madeline Dodge forbidden here?
Oh, no, come in. I'm just surprised, that's all.
Has been a long time, hasn't it? But I've been so busy.
Have you?
Yes. Professor Rogers and I have had a great deal to do together on his experiments at the laboratory.
Oh, I didn't know you were helping him.
Oh, hasn't he told you?
Oh, no, I hadn't seen him for some time.
Oh, really? Well, I've been helping him for weeks. He obviously doesn't tell you everything anymore.
He never did tell me much of anything. But I'm certainly surprised to hear that you're helping him in the laboratory. I didn't know you knew anything about chemistry.
Oh, I don't. I detest it, the very mention of it. You might say the help I give Professor Rogers is, well, it's more spiritual than material.
Oh, I see.
Oh, do you? I doubt it. I'm not trying to reform him, you know.
I didn't say that you were, Miss Dodge.
That's what you thought, isn't it? Isn't your life entirely devoted to reforming people who don't quite come up to the standards you set for them?
I'm quite satisfied to let people live their lives as they see fit.
Oh, now, Miss Gibbs, let's be honest with each other. Isn't the list of people that you've saved getting longer every day?
Saved?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can see right through you, Miss Gibbs. Every time you're caught, you try to hide behind a cloak of bewilderment. Now, let's see. How many people did you reform before you got your angelic clutches on poor Freddie Lang? Is Johnny Keith one of your flocks?
Miss Dodge, I think that
you think we should drop the subject, but I don't. After Freddie, it was Professor Rogers. No, I heard that there was someone else in between. Well, that's not very important. Now I understand that it's Barry Carlton.
Barry Carlton and I are hardly good friends.
Oh, is that so?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to hear his mother talk, you exert an astonishing influence on the poor, unsuspecting man.
Look, Miss Dodge, what Barry Carlton does is entirely up to him.
Oh, you mean you want him to think it's entirely up to him? But, darling, I have something very interesting to tell you. Barry isn't being taken in as you think.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know that Barry is going to work Monday morning, don't you?
Yes, I know that. But that was something Barry decided to do. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, yes, you did, darling. You had a great deal to do with it, you think.
Look, Miss Dodge, get to the point. What do you mean, I think?
I mean that you are very pleased that Barry is, that Barry's reformed.
I think Barry's decided to make something of himself. Else, why would he go to work?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you just what he told me. He hasn't gone to work because he wants a job or because he wants to change his ways.
Well, then why did he take the job?
Well, in his own words, darling, he took the job just to be on the right side of his mother.
Oh, Miss Dodge, I'm sorry. I don't believe that.
You don't? Well, you should have heard what he said. He doesn't want his mother's praise. He doesn't want admiration from you. All he wants to do is to keep peace at home. For a while, at least.
Now that Penny knows the truth about Barry Carlton, what effect will it have on her relationship with him? And how will the burden of Jed's illness affect the life of Penny Gibbs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB. KCB. KCB means Kroger Cut Beef. And Kroger Cut Beef means more meat for your money. Yes, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat, less waste. Because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. In buying Kroger Cut rib roast, for example, you don't pay rib roast price for excess bone and waste. The chine bone is trimmed, the waste and short rib end removed, giving you top U.S. government grades of beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. And before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, waste, and stringy ends. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat for your money. But mind you, you can get Kroger Cut Beef only at your neighborhood Kroger store. So go there as soon as you can. Step up to the meat counter and ask the Kroger meat man for Kroger Cut Beef. You'll get delicious and juicy and tender beef, and you'll get more meat, less waste. That means you get more meat for your money at your Kroger store. Listen again Monday, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of a future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Student Body by F.L. Wallace. Our story in 1 minute.
Girl.
Boy.
Moon.
June.
Ring.
Wedding.
Home.
Money.
Baby.
Money.
Education.
Money.
Retirement.
Money.
Solution?
United States savings bonds.
There's a smart couple. They're looking to the future. They know how important it is to plan for the future now with savings bonds.
Yes, the plans you make today will determine what kind of tomorrow you have. Are you a student? Are you a young married couple? Are you approaching the golden years? Whatever your age, whatever your situation, savings bonds can be a big help in making your tomorrow secure and happy.
Plan wisely. Buy savings bonds regularly where you work or where you bank. They're a good investment. You're saving your money and you're earning more. Series E bonds pay 3% interest compounded twice a year when the bonds are held to maturity.
And savings bonds are as safe and sound as America itself. What's more, they're protected against loss or theft.
For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds.
And now, Student Body by F.L. Wallace.
Emergency report to Central Colonial Service. Subject Planet 7G63, Glade. Reporting Dano Marin. Special assignment from Biological Control. Report consisting of standard universal tapes and special recorded comment. First segment, landing day +1. 6 a.m. sidereal mean time. Voices on tape, myself, Colonial Executive Shep Hafner, and Athel, a female member of our crew. Tape commencing.
Watch your step on the ramp, Marin. It's tilted.
Oh, yes, I will. All right, where are these people?
Over there, a few hundred feet. Beneath that tree.
Oh, come on, then.
You know, I'm going to have to note in the log that you cleared the planet for colonization as of last night.
I understand. I'm taping this now for my records. I take full responsibility for the safety of this planet.
All right. But wait until you see this. Here we are. Now, do you see there? In the clearing beneath that tree?
What? Good Lord, they haven't a stitch of clothes on. None of them.
That's just what I told you.
Are they all right?
No, they're just asleep. You can see them breathing.
Look here, Hafner. Who gave them permission to sleep out here in the open?
Shh, don't wake them yet. I gave them permission, Marin. They've been cooped up in that ship for over 6 months. They wanted to sleep outside. And in view of your clearance, I couldn't see any reason to refuse permission.
I know. You were within your rights. But the clothing, why, they don't even have blankets.
They did have, when they bedded down last night. Some of them even used the standard issue sleeping bag.
Well, then what happened to them? There are 13 people sleeping around that tree, and they're stark naked, all of them.
Last night you told me there was nothing dangerous on Glade. Do you still think so?
I know so. I have the complete biological survey.
Does your survey account for anything like this?
You know it doesn't.
That's what I thought. Okay. Now you've seen it for yourself. Let's wake them up and get them back to the ship.
No, wait. You better wake them one at a time. This will be embarrassing enough for them as it is.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I will wake the nearest one first. That's Ethel, our lab technician.
Yes, well, here, take my jacket. Cover her with it before you wake her.
All right. Wake up, Ethel. All right, Ethel, wake up. It's Executive Haffner.
What? Oh, what is it?
I'm sorry, Ethel. Something has happened.
Oh, my clothes. My blanket, everything's gone.
Now, be careful. Don't wake the others.
Yes, the others. Why, good heavens, they're all that way.
Ethel, just go back to your cabin on the ship. Everything is all right. We'll explain it to you when we have the others safely back.
But I feel so foolish. How could this happen? What's the meaning of it?
Now, just get back to the ship. Your clothes back there are perfectly safe.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you.
You told her we'd explain it later, Haffner. Do you think we can?
That's your job, isn't it?
This planet is as new to me as it is to you.
You're the biologist. What destroyed their clothing?
It would have to be something that could destroy both blankets and clothing without waking the people.
Nocturnal insects?
Ordinarily, I'd say that was a distinct possibility if it weren't for the fact that our surveys show no evidence whatsoever of any such insects on Glade.
Your survey could have missed them, couldn't it?
Not if they existed in any great quantity. Besides, if insects were the answer, there should be some kind of evidence of them right here in the area where Ethel was lying. Certainly one or two of them would be crushed when she rolled over in her sleep.
That sounds reasonable.
Now, look for yourself. There's absolutely no sign of anything at all here.
Well, what about some chemical, some vapor oozing from the ground?
No chance at all. I'd rule that out completely.
Then what?
Well, here's the tree itself. I suppose it could exude some sort of a chemical that might dissolve cloth, but I can check that in the lab.
And we better arouse the rest of these people and get them back to the ship.
Hey, wait.
What? What is it?
Why, it's some kind of an animal. Just caught a glimpse through there. There he is. Yeah, you see behind that bush?
Yeah. It looks almost like a chipmunk.
Yes, and he's feeding on something. Why, it looks like a piece of cloth.
Marin, do you think that...
Shh, he doesn't hear us. I'll just ease up to him now. Closer. Now.
You got him.
Oh, well, hey, you little devil.
Watch out, Marin. He's got sharp teeth.
You're telling me. Yeah, easy there, boy. Easy. Like to have your head stroked? Sure you do. That's the boy.
He's calming down.
Yes, look at that. He's nestling in the crook of my arm, almost like a kitten.
Almost. Marin, I hope you don't mind short sleeves.
Now, what do you mean?
He's already eaten half the sleeve off your shirt. I think we've found the answer to our problem.
The animal was a small furry mammal resembling an Earth-type rodent. Its overall length is 14 centimeters, weight 512 grams. Fur stringy and sparse, color a light beige, indicating no particular protective coloring. The animal was placed in a special cage in a biological laboratory aboard ship for further study. Next tape, landing date +2.
Can we exterminate it?
It's quite a job.
How about locally?
Hardly. It's ecologically basic.
Look, Marin, you're from biological control. I've just got an executive's rating.
Well, look, you know how control works. They send a survey ship over and record the neural currents of the animals. They get everything that has a brain, including insects, and they take a few specimens to check the patterns. Now, here's the report on Glade. The survey shows that this animal is one of only 4 species of mammals on the planet. It is also the most numerous.
So if we kill them off here, others will swarm in from other areas.
Yes, that's about it. There are probably millions of them around the planet. Of course, if you want to put a barrier across the connection to the mainland, you might be able to wipe them out locally.
Look, Marin, I've got a tight schedule. I can't spare dirt-moving equipment for that. By the way, what do they eat?
Well, as far as I can see, anything. Insects, fruit, berries. You could call it an omnivore. Now that our clothing is handy, it eats that, too.
I thought our clothing was supposed to be vermin-proof.
It is on 27 planets. On the 28th, we met up with a little fella that has better digestive fluids, that's all. Oh, he's eating a leather belt right now.
Yeah. Are they likely to bother the crops we plant?
They shouldn't, but and I would have said the same thing about our clothing.
All right, Marin, you worry about the crops. Find some way to keep them out of the field. Meanwhile, everyone sleeps inside the ship until we can build dormitories.
Biological examination of omnivora posed this question. Why only 4 species of mammals on Glade? No reptiles and only a few birds. On all comparable planets, a large variety of species. Nearest Earth parallel, fossil remains from the late Carboniferous show creatures like the omnivora, but on Glade there appears to be no further evolution. Next tape segment, L+22, place, temporary warehouse, Quartermaster Crone, and myself.
There you are, Mr. Marin. They got in every seed, sack, and barrel in this part of the warehouse.
Well, what makes you think it's mice?
Look, I've worked in grain elevators for 30 years in Kansas. Look at the way that sack is gnawed. And look over there. Droppings.
Well, it's not exactly...
I know, so they're mice-like. I want to know how to get rid of them.
Have you tried poison?
You tell me what poison to use, and I'll use it. They got into a 100-pound sack of arsenic and went through it like it was whipped cream.
Well, how did they get in? It's a fused dirt floor, isn't it?
It should be pest-tight. But see, there are cracks along here. They must have burrowed through. They were loose in here, and we don't have time to build another warehouse. They've got to be controlled here.
Well, catch me a few of them alive, and I'll see what I can do.
Next morning, a dozen live specimens of mice-like mammals were delivered to the lab. No 2 of them were affected by the same poison, and the poison developed to control the omnivora was completely ineffective. Alternate discussed with Executive Hafner and Machinist Tully of Computer Engineering. Next tape, L+24. Hafner, Tully, and myself.
I tried it out yesterday, Mr. Hafner. I think I've got all the bugs licked now.
Tully, I don't want any more metal used than is necessary. This isn't standard authorized equipment.
You're not dealing with a standard authorized problem.
Are you ready to activate the device?
Sure thing. Here, help me get it down from this assembly bench down on the floor.
All right.
There you go, Kitty. Now, what do you think of her? A robot cat.
Oh, I still think we need at least 3 of them.
Mr. Marin, inventory on colonial expeditions is always short. 1 will have to do. All right, Tully. Show us how this mechanical mouse catcher operates.
You better get out of the way, Mr. Marin. If you've touched any of the mice in the lab, she'll go for you. She reacts to smell as well as sight and sound.
All right, Tully, start it up.
All right, Kitty, go ahead and have a good time.
Oh, she moves like a cat.
You know, I wouldn't bet a plug nickel on any mouse in the same warehouse with that baby.
Robot cat device proved relatively successful in Warehouse 1. Rodent damage held below danger margin. Next tape, L+37. Tully, Hafner, and myself.
I can't salvage it, Mr. Hafner. Just look at that. That skeleton was chrome steel, now it's bent. The skin was duroplastic, and now it's cut to ribbons. The computer parts are all smashed to bits.
How do you account for it, Tully?
Well, look around the poor thing. You had me build it for mice. These things weren't mice. They're a good foot long. They just outnumbered him, that's all.
You examined these dead animals, Marin?
Not closely.
Well, you'll find your mice have grown. They ganged up on that cat.
There aren't supposed to be any rats on Glade, are there?
Well, there weren't supposed to be any mice either. What are you going to do?
We'll have to build another warehouse. 2-foot-thick fused floors.
Wait a minute, Mr. Hafner. To do that, we'll have to stop all other construction. The atomic generator...
Why not build more robot cats?
You weren't here when we opened the doors, Marin. The warehouse was swarming with rats. Tully, how many robot cats would we need? 5? 15?
We don't have enough parts to build more than 3.
If we need more than that, we'll have to rob the computer in the spaceship. And that's one thing I refuse to do. The spaceship is our only link with Earth until the next wave in 2 years. All right, then I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll floodlight the supplies at night. We'll post a guard with half-charged rifles until we can move to the new warehouse. That'll take about 10 days. Meanwhile, our fast crops are ripening. It's my guess that the rats will turn to that for food. Now, in order to protect our future food supplies, you'll have to activate your cold storage animals, Marin.
Mr. Hafner, it's against regulations to release any cold storage animals on a planet until after a complete investigation.
That takes 10 to 20 years. This is an emergency.
I don't want to be responsible for another rabbit-infested Australia or that planet in the Centauri system that the snails took over.
Marin, I'll take the responsibility. You're recording now, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. If that isn't authorization enough, I'll put it in writing.
Well, the beast I've got for this job won't be any good against rats this size.
You've got hormones. Use them.
Dead rats were gathered and frozen for further study. Observed animals, a wide variation in size. Internally, a lack of uniformity in organs. Some specimens had huge fangs and delicate jaws. Others had tiny teeth and massive bone structure. Obviously the most scrambled species ever encountered by a biologist. Reproductive cells were especially baffling. Proceeding with hormone treatment on cold storage Earth animals. Next tape, L+39. Lab technician, Atheel, and myself.
First one is coming out of it, Mr. Marin.
Yes, that makes 85% viability. That's not bad. All right, fella, now take it easy, take it easy.
Oh, he's a cute little fella.
But he's tough. That's a wire-haired terrier. They're small, but they've been used for ratters since the Middle Ages.
Do you think he's nearly ready for the hormone course?
I think so. All right, first pituitary injection.
Ready. All right, now, this is going to hurt just a little fella.
Oh. Yeah, it's a dirty trick, isn't it, jabbing you with a needle when you're fresh out of the deep freeze? But don't you worry, fella. You'll be glad you had it. You'll stand a better chance against those rats when we work you up to about a Great Dane size.
L+50, artificially enlarged terriers loosed in the fields of the fast crops. Following tape, field observation of terriers. Executor Hafner and myself.
How long have they been at it, Marin?
Since daybreak. I have to bring the dogs in at night and shoot them full of antibiotics.
Will the dogs last?
Well, this crop will be harvested in about a week. We'll make that. Then there'll be 2 weeks to rest up before the next fast crop shows above ground. I think we've got the rats licked for a while.
Well, when you get a chance, you might ask some of those PhDs in Central how they happened to hand us a survey and forgot to give us a few details like mice and rats.
I have been checking on that, Mr. Hafner. I don't think there's any doubt. When that survey was made before we landed, there weren't any mice and rats on Glade.
Then where did they come from? How did they get here?
I don't know. But we're going to have to find out.
Research project on pseudo-mice and pseudo-rats interrupted by field trip with Biological Survey Officer Whitehead. Tape L+63 in field geological survey vehicle. Whitehead and myself.
You think you got troubles? Can you read a sonar map?
No.
Here, look. See this scope? It reads straight down about 10 miles. I'm supposed to be out looking for oil shale, but I got kind of interested in this. Look, first few feet down, you can find fossils. After the first few feet, that's about 20,000 years, there are no fossils until you get way down here. That's about the same as late Carboniferous on Earth. Then you get the fossils again. It doesn't figure.
But isn't that usual? Changes in geological eras?
You don't get it, man. I'm not talking about eras. I'm talking about years. Straight down from here, 20,000 years ago, this was a desert. And then 3 years later, it was a jungle. 5 years after that, there was a glacier. Earth normal would be 50,000 years or more for a change like that.
What caused it?
Yeah, you've got me. Fluctuations in the sun, I don't know, but talk about changeable weather. This planet really has it.
Based on accumulated data, theory developed regarding mammalian life on planet Glade. Tape L+65. Place temporary headquarters of Executive Hafner.
Marin, I've got a lot of work to clear up this morning.
I thought you might like to know where the mice came from.
They don't bother us anymore.
I have also determined the origin of the rats.
They're under control.
I wonder if they are, Mr. Hafner.
What do you mean?
Mr. Hafner, I've checked this with Whitehead. Between 100 million years and 20,000 years ago, this planet was changing violently and quickly. The first change wiped out the dinosaur just the way it did on Earth. But it kept on changing. Desert, glacier, jungle, and all this within the lifespan of a single animal. For 1 million years, this was the norm of existence on Glade.
I've checked Geological Survey. The planet is stable now.
Well, that's not what I'm getting at. The point is, survival was difficult. Only one species of mammals managed to come through.
Now, wait a minute, Marin. There are 4 species, ranging in size from a squirrel to a water buffalo.
One species. They're the same. If the food supply for the largest animal increases, some of the smaller so-called species just grow up. Conversely, if the food becomes scarce in any category, the next generation, which apparently can be produced almost instantly, switches to a form which does have an adequate food supply.
The mice?
The mice weren't here when we got here. They were born of the squirrel-sized omnivora.
And the rats?
Born of the next larger size. After all, we are environment, too, and they adapt to environment.
Let me get this straight. The mutation...
On Earth, it would be mutation. Here, it's merely normal evolution. These animals have no genes or chromosomes. I don't know how they pass down heredity, but they react to external conditions far faster than anything we've ever encountered.
Then we'll never be free from pests unless, of course, we rid the planet of all animal life.
Yeah, you mean with radioactive dust? That won't work. They survived worse.
Or maybe we could leave the planet. Leave it to the animals. I could exercise authority under Clause 364.
It's too late for that.
What do you mean?
We sent back the specimen ship. The animals are on Earth, too.
But those specimens were in cages.
Yes, but the next generation would be small enough to get out through the bars. They'll be running free in the cargoes of the spaceships. They'll land on Earth, and the first thing you know, a new mutation of rats will appear. They won't have any reason to connect it with the specimens from Glade.
They won't be able to vermin-proof every building on Earth.
No, we've got to stay here. We've got to study the animals here and find out how to beat them. If we can.
Next tape, L+83. Place, Field Outpost. Quartermaster Crone, Hafner, and myself.
I saw it, Mr. Hafner. I saw it.
Are you sure?
There. You see that tree? No, the big one.
The white flowers?
That's the one. I saw it behind there.
Can you describe it?
Well, I didn't get a good... That's it. That's what I heard.
That sounds like a tiger. I've heard them like that in India.
You watch. Right by that tree. Hey, look out. It's heading this way.
Give me that rifle.
Hurry up. Shoot. Try again. I got it.
Come on, let's take a look.
Now look out. It might be still alive.
No, I hit it square with that second charge.
What in the devil is it?
It's a good 8 feet long. What do you make of it, Marin?
Well, except for the lack of markings, it closely resembles a tiger.
Look at those claws.
We chase the rats out of the warehouse, they go to the fields. We hunt them down in the fields with dogs, and they breed tigers.
Well, that's easier than rats. We can shoot tigers.
Wait a minute. We've been here less than 3 months, Marin. The dogs have been in the fields only 2. And that tiger's mature. How do you account for that?
I'm not sure, Mr. Hafner, but I imagine if the survival factor is high, the young don't ever have to be young.
What?
They can be born as fully functioning adults.
Development report. Mice under control. Field rats under control by terriers. Tiger-like animals under control with searchlight and rifle. Additional complication. The original animal developed an appetite for electrical insulation. There is no protection except to keep the power on at all times. The last tiger-like animal was seen at L+130. After that, the attack ceased. By L+2 years, the animal seemed to have been controlled in all its forms. However, 3 months before the next colonists were due, a new animal was detected. Food was missing from the fields. Dogs were useless. The animal seemed to roam the fields, and the dogs did not attack. Patrols were unable to find the animal. Tape L+2 years. Hafner, Engineer Tully, and myself.
Now, here's the way I'm rigging it up, Mr. Hafner. Whatever it is, it spotted the photoelectric cell rig. So I've worked up an alarm that reacts to body radiation.
You're sure the animal won't spot that?
Well, I'm burying it in the field. Then we'll move the visible alarms to another field.
All right, Tully. As soon as the alarm goes off, notify Mr. Marin and me. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Just as soon as the alarm goes off.
L2 plus 15. Radiation alarm sounded. Place, field station, Hafner and myself.
Look out where you're walking, Marin. We don't want to scare it away.
Well, there are dogs in that field, aren't there?
Well, there were supposed to be, but they didn't bark. Quiet.
There it is. See? Huh? It's in between the rows.
Look out. Look out. Give me a clear shot.
No, wait a minute. Don't shoot.
Look, Marin, I'm the executive here. I say it's dangerous.
Dangerous? That's why you can't shoot. It's more dangerous than you know.
Quiet. It'll hear you.
We're downwind. Now, listen, Hafner. This is important.
I don't want any lecture now, Marin. I don't want to lose the shot.
You've got to listen. That animal could evolve mice. We stopped mice, and it brought rats. We turned back the rat and provided the tiger.
All right, we stopped the tiger.
Not really. There was another animal being formed. The one that's in that field now. It took the animal 2 years to create it. How, I don't know. 1 million years were required to evolve it on Earth.
He's moving away. Marin, I'm going to shoot.
Don't shoot. We can't destroy the animal. It's on the Earth now and on other planets. We've never even been able to get rid of our own rats. How can we exterminate this animal?
All the more reason to start now. Get down and give me a clear shot.
Listen. Are their rats better than ours? Will their beasts win or ours be stronger? Or will the two make peace, unite, and interbreed? It's not impossible. This animal could do it if interbreeding had a high survival factor. Don't you see, after the tiger, they bred this thing. If we shoot it down, what will come next? Look at it, standing erect. Opposable thumbs, binocular vision, a large brain capacity. This one I think we can compete with. It's the one after this that I don't want to face.
Marin, it must hear us. It's looking this way.
Look at it, Hafner. He's holding his hands up to show us he's got no weapon. Drop your rifle.
Are you sure?
Drop your rifle. He's coming this way.
He's got one of those white blossoms in his hand.
Yes. Must be a sign of peace.
Wait. It looks almost like a man. I wonder what's inside that body.
I wonder what's inside that head.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Verbal Agreement by Arthur Sellings, the story of an unsuccessful poet who was forced to ask what it was the aliens could want that was half as precious as the skins they wouldn't sell. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Student Body, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by F.L. Wallace and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were John Raby, Bob Hastings, Kate Wilkinson, James Stevens, Charles Carruth, and Merrill E. Joels. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production. Suppose you met a man in a tavern and he told you quite seriously that he wasn't a man at all, that he was the last Martian left alive. Well, that's what happens to a newspaper reporter next week when he is sent out on what appears to be a routine crank story. What happens next, though, is very far from routine, as the interview leads to a whole succession of astonishing events. The story is The Last Martian by Frederick Brown, next week on X-1. The Fisher Body Awards to Teenagers will be made tonight on the NBC Radio Network.
You mind if I sit down?
Help yourself. It's a free country.
I brought you beer. Barney, the bartender, told me something about your problem.
Oh? Thanks for the beer.
Drink up.
Well, I suppose you think I'm out of my mind, but, well, maybe you'll be right. The bartender probably thinks I've flipped my lid. Listen, are you a doctor?
Nope.
Do you think I'm insane?
I'm not a doctor, and I haven't even heard your story yet. How can I tell?
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything that happened. Then you tell me if you think I'm all right. 2 hours ago, I was on Mars.
2 hours? How did you get here?
I don't know. That's the horrible thing. All I know is that the others were dead.
All of them? How do you know?
I saw them. I saw their bodies in the street. It was awful.
Now, wait a minute. You mean you're the last one? The last Martian?
Yes.
Well, that's a little hard to believe.
Listen, I was there. I was in this room in the city of Scar. I don't know why I was there, but I was. I was locked in. Then I got hungry, and there was nobody to bring me food. So I worked a stone out of the floor and started digging. It took 3 days. When I got out and reached the street, everyone was dead, lying in the open.
What did you do?
I took a Targan, an energy plane, and flew it to Xandar. Xandar is the biggest city, the capital. Every place, it was the same. Hundreds of thousands of bodies lying in the fields, the streets, as if everyone had died at the exact same instant. At Xandar, in the stadium.
I'm listening.
In the stadium, there were 100,000 of them. As if they'd come there specially to die together. I landed my ship there.
In the stadium?
Yes.
I see.
Well, there, in the stadium, they had built some sort of platform. On it was a column made of copper. Copper is a rare metal on Mars. And there was a push button.
Where?
In the copper column.
Oh.
And there was a Martian in a blue robe, a priest, right under the button. It was as though he'd pushed the button and died. And everybody else had died with him.
Except you?
Yes. All except me.
And then?
And then I was on a Madison Avenue bus, riding to work, here in New York.
Oh, now wait a minute.
Listen, I know you don't believe me. I know it sounds as if I was stark raving mad, but
take it easy, huh? You know what I think?
What?
You've had some sort of terrible shock.
Well, of course I have. There were 3 million of us, all dead.
I don't mean that kind of shock.
Of course, it was a dying world anyway. We didn't have more than 2 generations left. It was the krill.
What was the krill?
The disease. It reduced us to 1/30th of our population in 2 centuries.
These 3 million, and they died of the krill?
No. The krill kills slowly. These people died like that, with a push of a button.
Well, why didn't they escape?
We tried to develop space travel, but we couldn't. We couldn't even reach Deimos or Phobos.
Where are they?
Our moons.
Oh, I don't know too much about this stuff.
It was horrible.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Down?
Anything you like.
Well, if the Martians didn't develop space travel, how do you think you got here in New York City?
I don't know. It's driving me wild. I'm Yangan Dal, a Martian. And I'm here, in the body of an Earthman.
The body of an Earthman?
Of course. You don't think Martians look exactly like humans, do you? I'm 3 feet tall. Weigh what would be 20 pounds here on Earth. I have 4 arms and 6 fingers on each hand.
Barney?
Yeah?
2 more beers, huh, with whiskey chasers?
Right.
Go on, Mr. Down. I don't mean to interrupt.
It frightens me.
Oh, I can understand that.
Your drinks. You want some help?
Thanks, Barney. Drink up, Mr. Down.
Thank you.
By the way, who is this Earthman whose body you've got?
Its name is Howard Wilcox.
Howard Wilcox, huh? I'll just write that down. Address?
It's in the wallet. 45 Amber Court.
Mm-hmm. This Howard Wilcox, whose body you're in, does he have a family?
It is married to a female of this species, yes.
Well, have you been home?
No.
Then how do you know?
I have all of its memories. I can do everything it could do. I know everything it knows.
Oh, I see.
I even have its tastes.
Beer, for instance?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You have a job?
At the Humber Lamp Company, 34th Street.
Well, maybe you ought to call your wife.
No, It frightens me.
Why?
This body, it loves its wife. Let me buy us around. There's money in these pockets.
Okay.
It's very good of you to listen to my story. Barkeep, another round, please.
Tell me, Mr. Dow, did you ever suspect before that you were a Martian?
Suspect? I am a Martian. Don't you understand?
Well, how did you get in here?
I told you this body was on its way to work on a Madison Avenue bus, and then I was inside it. It was thirsty, so it stopped for a drink. And I thought maybe the bartender could give me some advice. So I started talking. Don't you believe me?
Listen, Howard, you should be due home for dinner by now. Now, you're making your wife worry. Why not phone her?
I'm afraid.
What's there to worry about? Whether you're young and Dow or Howard Wilcox is a woman sitting home worrying.
I suppose you're right.
Of course I'm right.
You're very understanding.
Oh, not at all.
You wouldn't want to come with me, would you?
Hmm?
I'm sort of afraid.
Well, it would look funny.
I could tell her you're an old school friend. We could have dinner. And then maybe I could get to know her.
You really want me to come?
Would you?
Let me make a phone call first, okay?
Fine.
I rang up the Tribune and got Cargan at the city desk.
City desk, Cargan.
Hi, Bill Everett.
Did you find him?
Uh-huh.
Well?
There's something strange about this guy.
You think he's insane?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Is he or isn't he?
Well, he's got the whole story so perfectly organized, he might even convince somebody it's true. He remembers every detail.
What do you figure you're going to do?
Well, I'm going home with him. I'm going to meet his wife and observe them.
How many drinks have you had?
Oh, I'm sober. Don't worry.
Me worry? Look, maybe you better come back here and I'll let Vincent handle this stuff.
No, that isn't necessary. Just let me tag along a while.
Okay. But if you want help, yell and I'll send Vincent.
I will. Don't worry.
What's this guy's name?
Howard Wilcox.
Address?
45 Amber Court.
Okay. Oh, and Bill.
Yes?
Just remember one thing.
What's that?
You could be playing with dynamite. Watch your step.
Number 45 Amber Court was an apartment down in the village. We were met at the door by a pretty woman in dungarees with her black hair and a ponytail with a red ribbon. Let me handle it, okay?
I wish you would.
Howard, I was so worried.
This is Bill Everett.
I'm an old boyhood chum of your husband, Mrs. Wilcox. We met, and I asked Howard to have a few drinks, and I'm afraid it's all my fault.
Bill is having dinner with us.
If it isn't too much trouble.
Well, no, of course not.
Well, that's very generous of you.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'd better start dinner. Howard?
Yes?
Are you all right?
Why, yes. Fine.
You didn't kiss me.
Oh, well.
That's better. That's the first time in 11 years Howard hasn't kissed me when he came home.
Well, we stopped and had a few drinks. It was all my fault, really.
Look, just make yourself comfortable. I won't be long.
Do you think she suspects?
Of course not.
I'll have to tell her.
You want to wind up in an institution?
No, but I can't keep up this pretense.
Just set your mind to it. Now, after a while, it'll become natural. You'll forget that you ever were a Martian.
You do believe me, then, about being a Martian?
Of course.
Oh, that's good to know.
Now, look, whatever you do, don't tell your wife. It would ruin her life.
I'll try not to tell her.
Try very hard. Now, don't tell anybody.
You and the bartender know, of course.
Well, we'll keep it quiet. Don't worry.
Good.
Do you think you can carry it off?
I'll try.
Good boy. Now, tell you what. If you get into any kind of trouble, I mean, if you just have to talk to somebody about it, give me a call, Here, at this number. Now, if I'm not in, you leave a message with my boss. His name is Cargan.
Cargan.
You promise?
I promise.
Fine.
You're very kind. This body... I've never met anybody so kind here on Earth.
Forget it.
Well, what have you two been discussing so secretly?
Just business.
Oh, I'm sorry about being late, dear.
Well, you might have phoned. After all, you were only a few blocks from the house. It isn't as if you were on Mars or someplace.
Dinner went pretty well. And Elaine Wilcox turned out to be an expert at shish kebab, which is one of my favorites. After dinner, I still had a couple of hours to put in at the paper, so I went back. Cargan came over to me right away.
Well?
Well?
Is he or isn't he?
He's a Martian, all right. No question about that.
You're very funny.
I have my moments.
Would you mind telling me exactly where you've been for 3 hours? And what you've been doing?
I talked to Yangan Dao. That's his Martian name. Then we had dinner at his home. Very nice. Shish kebab.
What about the story?
Oh, yeah, the story. Well, it seems that he was locked in a room in the city of Scar. And he got out and saw all the dead bodies of the entire Martian population. Then he flew to the Capitol and saw a button that a priest had pressed, and the next thing he knew, he was inside an Earthman named Howard Wilcox riding a Madison Avenue bus. Want me to write it up?
Is that all you've got to tell me?
That's all. Listen, this guy's going to be perfectly all right as soon as he gets used to the idea that he's Howard Wilcox.
He is, I suppose you're a qualified psychiatrist?
Well, I'm qualified to judge this.
I'd better send Vincent over there.
There's no need for that.
I have a distinct feeling you've let your emotions get into the act.
Well, what's wrong with emotions?
They don't belong in this business.
Look, Cargan, this is a decent enough guy. He's a little bewildered, maybe. Now, why not let him live out his life in peace?
He may be dangerous.
Don't you trust my judgment?
We can't afford to pass up anything important.
Oh, you're exaggerating.
Maybe. Vincent.
Yes, Mr. Cargan.
I want you to do a follow-up on a story that Bill has started. A man named Howard Wilcox who thinks he's a Martian.
Oh?
Bill has the address.
Now, if anything happens to this guy, there are liable to be questions and accusations.
Vincent can handle that out of it.
You want the full treatment on this story, Mr. Cargan?
If you think the man is a menace, give him the full treatment.
Okay, Mr. Cargan.
I gave Vincent the address, feeling like a murderer, and then I beat it to the nearest phone booth and called Howard Wilcox's home. His wife, Elaine, answered.
Yes?
Well, Mrs. Wilcox, this is Bill Everett again.
Oh, did you forget something?
No, I have something to tell you, and it may sound a little weird, but bear with me.
Oh, what is it?
A man from my newspaper is coming over. His name is Vincent. Now, he's a big, ugly man with a scar on his lip.
He's coming over here?
He's on his way now.
Well, what for?
Well, that's the part you aren't going to believe, Mrs. Wilcox.
Well, try me and see.
He's going to murder your husband.
I'm afraid I didn't hear you.
I said he's coming over to murder your husband.
You and Howard did do quite a bit of drinking.
I'm trying to do you a favor. Now, listen to me.
I'm listening.
Send him away. Tell him Howard had to leave town. Do you hear me?
I hear you, but really...
Please, Mrs. Wilcox, if your husband means anything to you.
Well, of course he does, but why not call the police?
They'll laugh at you. I'm coming right over. I'll explain when I get there. And remember, your husband's life depends on this. I didn't know whether I'd convinced her or not. It all sounded so terribly melodramatic. Anyway, I hopped into a cab and told him to use a heavy foot on the gas pedal, and about 15 minutes later, I arrived at 45 Amber Court.
Oh, it's you.
Was Vincent here?
There was a man here from the Tribune, yes.
Did you do as I told you?
Well, I got Howard out of the house. I sent him out for some mozzarella cheese and gave him a couple of places that don't carry it.
What'd Vincent say?
I told him Howard wouldn't be back in town till tomorrow. He said he'd be back.
Did he say what he wanted?
Just that he had some good news for my husband.
Some good news. May I come in?
I wish you would. I want to know what this is all about. Sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you mind explaining?
You won't believe me.
You keep saying that.
Okay, Mrs. Wilcox. Your husband, Howard, is a Martian.
A Martian?
That's right.
I see. And when did you discover this about my husband?
This morning.
Would you mind telling me just when he arrived? From Mars, that is.
This morning.
You don't say.
Told you wouldn't believe me.
Oh, I haven't said that yet. You're sure Howard is a Martian?
Yep. He claims to be the last Martian. Look, see if I can make it clear. There was a plague sweeping Mars. Now, they devised a means of transporting their intellects through space to Earth. Their dead bodies remained behind. Now, Howard, your husband, was confined in an institution, so he didn't get to go with the other Martian souls. He dug his way out and went to the capital city where the energy machine was located.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there was enough left to send his intelligence down here, where it landed in the body of one Howard Wilcox.
How did you find this out?
He told me.
Mr. Everett, if you don't mind, I'm rather tired. First you tell me someone's going to murder Howard, then you tell me he's the man from Mars. Now, I'd like to get some rest, if you don't mind.
I'm trying to convince you your husband is in danger.
If Howard is a Martian, just why did your Mr. Vincent want to kill him?
Because Mr. Vincent is a Martian, too.
Uh-huh. I suppose the editor of the Tribune is also a Martian?
No, not the editor, just the editor of the city desk.
And you, Mr. Everett, are you a Martian, too?
Matter of fact, yes.
Good night.
Just won't see it, will you?
Good night, Mr. Everett.
Okay, I tried my best.
Martians, indeed. Oh, Howard, thank heavens.
I couldn't get the mozzarella.
It doesn't matter. Tell me, Howard, are you a Martian?
What? Why, yes. How did you know?
Oh, woman's intuition. It's terribly late, dear. Let's turn in.
No, not yet. I want to know how you knew I was a Martian.
Howard, please, I've had just about enough of this nonsense today.
It isn't nonsense to me. Only this morning I was Yang Gandal, a Martian. Now I'm in the body of your husband.
Is this a joke you and your friend Mr. Everett invented to torture me? Because if it is...
It isn't a joke. It's the truth.
Howard, I just can't stand much more of this. I'm beginning to wonder if it's me. Who could that be at this hour?
I'll answer it.
Yes? You are Mr. Howard Wilcox?
Yes?
My name's Vincent. I'm a reporter from the Trib.
Yes?
May I come in?
Yes.
Who is... Oh, Mr. Vincent.
I see your husband has unexpectedly returned from out of town, Mrs. Wilcox.
Now, look here.
Would you mind telling me why you lied to me?
Yes, I would.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that you know your husband's secret?
What secret?
That he is young and dull. A Martian.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you do.
Why is there such concern? I am Yang Gandal. I am a Martian. The last Martian, as far as I know.
That is where you're wrong, Mr. Wilcox.
Wrong?
You see, there are many of us.
Many? Like me?
Hundreds of thousands. We were teleported to Earth during the Great Migration and found ourselves, like you, inside human beings.
But then I'm not alone. You do understand my position.
Perfectly.
I can establish contact. We can remember our old home.
Unfortunately, no.
I don't understand.
Sadly enough, young and dull, you were considered mentally ill on Mars. Ill enough so that you were institutionalized.
But
here on Earth, a person like you represents a distinct threat to us.
How do I threaten you?
You're unstable. You may give us away. That would spoil it.
Spoil what?
Our plan.
Plan?
You have not heard of the plan?
I heard of no plan. I was in an institution.
Yes. You are certain now?
Of course. What plan?
If you knew, I would have been forced to destroy you. You've just saved your own life, young and dull, and that of Howard Wilcox as well.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Aren't you afraid that I'll do something?
Such as?
Tell people my husband is a Martian.
Really, Mrs. Wilcox, you know better. You'd be laughed at or sent to the nearest psychiatric clinic. No, we aren't at all concerned with the fact that people will betray our presence here on Earth. I'm sure you can appreciate the reaction if you would have phoned the police and tell them that the Trib reporters are all Martians.
Well, not all. Just the city editor and yourself and Mr. Everett.
How did you know that?
Perhaps I'm one myself, Mr. Vincent.
It isn't possible.
Why not?
Are you? Tell me where you were born. What city?
I was born in Undanel near the dead canal of Krilla.
Your name?
Zanat Cree.
You are party to the plan?
The plan to take over the Earth? Of course.
Your husband, young and dull. Why did you not inform him?
For the same reason you did not. He is unstable. But there is no need to worry. I will care for him.
Amazing.
Now, would you mind leaving us alone? We have many things to discuss.
Of course. Amazing. Positively amazing.
I was standing in Barney's bar having a double scotch on the rocks when Vincent came in looking like a man who spent the last 3 hours in a KitchenAid mixer with the dial on Fluffy. He came over and ordered without so much as look at me.
Here it is, Mr. Vincent.
Thanks.
You okay?
Sure.
By the way, did you fellas take care of that crackpot who was in here this afternoon, the one who thought he was a Martian?
Sure.
Just a drunk, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Wouldn't you say so, Bill?
Oh, definitely.
Well, you see, Barney. Sometimes you can't tell the Martians from the Earthmen. You know?
It's getting to be that way, Mr. Vincent. Right, Bill?
That's right, Barney. Integration. That's what it is. I gave Barney a sly wink and lifted my glass along with Vincent. Of course, Barney understood. You see, he's one of us, too.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Alan Cogan's story, Nothing But the Best, which tells about a strange mix-up in time and place. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Last Martian, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Frederick Brown and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer, Elliot Reed, Santos Ortega, Ralph Bell, John McGovern, and Patricia Wheel. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Go to the conventions with NBC Radio beginning Monday, August 13th.
Jerry and Joan are in a Euclidean submarine on their way to aid in the capture of Johnson and the Gregory rescue boat. Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory have been left on the captive yacht, inside of one of the submarine locks on the Magic Island. They have just heard a radio message from Jerry to Johnson, advising Johnson to bring his boat to the island at once. Knowing this means Johnson's immediate capture, Mrs. Gregory and the captain are sure Jerry is being compelled to send the message by someone aboard the submarine. Just as the captain and Mrs. Gregory start to do something about it, they hear a rush of water. Captain Bradford runs out on the yacht deck and sees water pouring into the lock.
Hurry up, Pat. Get out here quick. We've got to leave this boat.
What's the matter, Tex? That water rushing. Is it...
The lock gate's broken.
Yeah, our only chance is to find in this yacht and run up that ramp to the inside chambers of the island.
Oh, but this boat will be ruined and all our equipment's on board.
Can't help it, dear. Come on. This place will be flooded in a few minutes. The rate that water's coming in.
But I don't see how it happened. That gate doesn't look...
Never mind how the gate looks, Pat. Come on. We've got to get out of here.
All right, Tex. We have to walk on this narrow little rock ledge here.
We do, and be glad to get it. Come on.
This noiseless paint on everything. I'm getting as bad as Jerry. I could only hear some noise when I walk.
Yes, well, at least Jerry and Joan are better off than we are now. They're underwater, but they're in a boat that was made to be there.
Right here, Tex, was where the door opened when G-47 came through it.
It won't be so simple for us to open one. No, I think it was further back up this ramp.
No, Tex, I was watching as he went back out the door. And that light, that bracket on the wall, was on the other side of him.
Well, hold on, then. You mean that as you looked up here from the deck of the yacht, G-47 was between you and this light?
Yes, I'm sure of it. He made such a weird figure as he stood silhouetted against that light.
And the door is near here somewhere. We'd better not be too long finding it. The rate the water's rising.
We can try pushing on this wall. Right here, I think.
No good. Things on this island don't work automatically. They don't work at all. We've got to figure how to get out of here pretty fast, or that water...
Tex, the water isn't rising anymore.
Huh? What? Not rising?
No, it's nearly still now.
But it couldn't have stopped. We're 50 feet below the water level now, with the whole island submerged. What could stop the water after the lock gate broke?
I don't know, but you can see for yourself. The roofs of the cabins haven't touched the top of the lock yet, and they were only a few feet below it to start with.
Right, Pat. Only about 2 or 3 feet of water came into the lock when the gate broke, and that's funny. I wonder.
What, Tex?
That's it. The island is rising again. That lock gate must be up to the water level now. Come on, let's go back down on the deck where we can take a look at it.
But why isn't the light showing through the broken gate if we're above water?
Because it's a couple of hours yet until daylight. Come on, we'll go back down and have a look at that gate.
All right. Like Jerry, I'm glad to hear our shoes make some noise.
Sounds like home, all right. Now, come on up the stern, Pat.
Captain.
There's the skipper, Tex. I thought he and the engineer had been taken to one of the cells on the island.
Well, he's here now. He didn't try to get out of this thing like we did. Something funny here.
Yes, Skipper? What is it?
Gates.
We saw the gate breaking.
No.
But we did, Skipper. The gate broke and the water rushed in.
No.
That gate didn't break?
No.
Well, what happened then?
Opened.
The gate opened?
So, it wasn't an accident then. Our dear friend G-47 must have decided we'd been around here long enough.
Not that, Tex. If someone had tried to drown us, the water wouldn't have stopped as it did.
How about it, Skipper? You seem to have kept your head and found out a few things. What stopped the water?
Gate.
The gate was closed again?
But there must be some idea back of all this. These Euclideans are too busy now with the fleet of battleships playing around overhead and Jerry and Joan out in one of their submarines. No, it doesn't make sense for them to stop and fool with these lock gates.
Come.
Skipper's got something to show us.
When we sign him on for the next cruise, it's going to be in his articles that he add a few more words to his vocabulary. Guessing what he means is getting on my nerves.
Oh, steady, Pat, now. Skipper's all right. Maybe he doesn't talk much because he hears the rest of us talk too much.
Look.
Tex, the skipper's right. The gate hasn't been broken at all.
That's plain enough, but why was the water turned in here?
Look.
Where?
There.
Down in the water?
I can't see much. Dark down there. Got a flashlight, Skipper?
Here.
Thanks. Now, then we'll have a look.
Well, I can't see anything down there.
There.
Oh, Tex, I see it. It's a fish, a big one.
Silver-colored. Peculiar shape, isn't it? Biggest fish shaped like that I ever saw. What is it, Skipper?
Torpedo.
What?
Torpedo.
Torpedo, eh?
Aye.
Then we're on the wrong boat. That thing's going to go off when it jars against this yacht.
Dud.
You mean the torpedo is dead? It won't go off?
Aye.
I'm beginning to see this thing now. Skipper, did you see that torpedo come in here?
Aye.
Was it an accident?
No.
But how could a torpedo be brought in here?
Magnetism.
Oh, then the Euclideans knew just what was going on.
Of course. I don't know why, but I can guess who. G-47.
Precisely.
Oh, you startled me, coming out of the wall like that.
So you tried a little experiment on us, eh?
You were not considered.
I'll say we weren't. We might have been drowned.
That would have been no loss to me. But your destruction has no value in this plan. I merely wanted this torpedo, a stray shot from the fleet overhead.
You used your magnets to pull this torpedo in here after it was shot in target practice?
Precisely. I wanted to examine this type of projectile. I will send my assistants for it. You may follow me if you care to see what is happening in the submarine.
Tex, we can go and see what Jerry and Joan are doing.
Yeah, we'll take him up on that. See you later, Skipper.
Why, there's a door in this wall within arm's length.
Now, here, step over the rail carefully, Pat. You better hurry and not get too far behind old G-47.
I don't like to just sit here and do nothing while that girl commander does as she pleases with the submarine.
It will do you no good to attempt interference, Jerry. We are comparatively safe only so long as you restrain yourself from well-intentioned, though ridiculous and quite obvious approaches to the subject of possible intervention in this Euclidean plan.
Hey, quit talking like that. I got enough of a headache now without any big words. We got to figure what to do when we get under Johnson's boat with this submarine.
I can use little words as well as you, Jerry. You are a fool.
I'm a witch?
There is no shorter word for that. You're a fool.
Hey, how come?
You know that every word you say is being heard by the commander up there in the central control section. Why do you persist in talking?
Oh, because this gets my goat. Oh, skip it. I know it's slang, but when I'm excited, I have to think in slang to get anything done. All this mysterious stuff. Here we are in a submarine 100 feet long with a crew of one man and a beautiful girl in command.
So you do think she's beautiful, do you?
Well, I've got good eyes. Even if she is a Euclidean, she's a peach.
A peach? Jerry, she is not a peach.
Enough of this ridiculous discussion. Silence, both of you. I wish the communication channels clear.
I'm sorry, Commander. Okay.
Now, Jerry, you must sit quietly and say nothing more until given permission. I warned you that our conversation could be heard all over the boat.
And is all that really coming from a submarine G-47?
Precisely.
We could hear them as plainly as if they were in this room. Yet they weren't deliberately using a microphone.
On Euclidia, we have ways of hearing anything we wish to hear.
Yes, I believe it. Well, as long as that girl skipper won't let the kids talk, there's nothing of interest for us to hear. Let's go back to the yacht, Pat.
Yes, even though it's helpless in a lock under 50 feet of water, I feel more comfortable there than here.
Well, thanks for the show, G-47. Will you excuse us now?
No, I will not. Come here. I want you to observe something.
You mean look in that prism reflector on your desk?
Precisely.
What's the use, Tex? You were fooled once by that thing.
Yes, well, I might see something anyway. Let's have a look.
I will enlarge this image for you. You will be interested in seeing the interior of the submarine from which you just heard. Look. Look.
Why, Tex, it's the inside of a submarine.
Don't get excited, Pat. We're 8 fathoms below the water level. So is the sub. And they're miles from here. Now, don't let it fool you.
But, Tex, look, Jerry and Joan inside the submarine. It's as clear as a photograph of them.
Yeah? Well, maybe this look is on a level. Yes, sir, look. You can even see the expressions on their faces. Jerry doesn't look any too happy, does he?
You heard that woman commander tell him to be quiet. That's quite a punishment for Jerry.
Commander seems to be busy with the controls. Wonder what's going on.
Silence. The commander is about to communicate with me.
May we watch the image while you do your stuff?
You may, and you will notice the clarity of objects within the submarine, the perfection of the voice reception here. The television engineers in your world are hopelessly behind Euclidia.
Watch this, Pat. We're really seeing things now.
Commander S1 reporting to G47. 20 miles off Euclidia. Course due north. 25 knots. S1.
Your progress and course satisfactory, S1. Report on position of battleships near you.
Gee whiz. I heard G47.
Yes, Jerry, of course.
Did you get that, Pat? The kids are hearing G47.
Hey, Joan. I heard Captain Bradford.
Yes, The captain must be in the communication chamber. And my mother also.
Yes, Joan. Mother can hear you, dear.
Oh, Jerry, did you hear my mother?
Commander, you will take steps to secure silence on board?
Correct, G47. I will have silence.
Look out, Joan. She's going to use a ray gun.
It will be useless to try to avoid it, Jerry.
Say, if she hurts those kids...
Oh, Tex.
Silence.
Tex, look at the reflector. Jerry has fallen to the floor of the submarine.
I can hear you, Mother. Do not fear for us. We will be...
Now, there's no reason for what she's doing to those kids.
Silence.
There is silence on my command now, G47. Will report on battle fleet. 12 major units are taking part in maneuvers. 4 heavy cruisers doing long-range fire. 4 destroyers acting as enemy scouts.
When Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford were taken into the communication chamber on the 5th level of the Magic Island, they saw something almost unbelievable. From G47's prism reflectors, they have actually seen the inside of a submarine many miles away, in which Jerry and Joan are being taken to witness the capture of Johnson's boat. The Euclideans have perfected television, as they have everything else, and Mrs. Gregory and the captain were forced to see and hear everything, as the submarine commander turned her ray guns on Joan and Jerry to silence them. The rays were only sleep-producing ones, however, and as we look into the submarine, we find Jerry and Joan just recovering from the effects.
I told you, Jerry, not to talk so much.
Well, anyway, we both got put to sleep with that ray gun, and I'm getting tired of falling over whenever one of these Euclideans feels like watching me take a tumble.
Now, Jerry, please do not make remarks about the Euclideans. The Commander S1 can hear all we say, and so can SE1, the engineer. You are only making it more difficult for us.
You are right, Cleostra. I have found that you two are not entirely trustworthy, however, and must now take further precautions to ensure your remaining quietly in the stern while I continue my observations here.
What's she going to do with us now?
Silence. You, Cleostra, will open the small cabinet on your left. You will sponge the hands and shoes of young Hall and yourself with the liquid from the cabinet.
Hey, wait a minute. Do you know what that stuff is?
Yes, Jerry. It is the magnetic paint, and once we have it on, we cannot move while the commander keeps the magnets active in this section.
Oh, so. My girlfriend, the commander, is just as tough as anybody else from that crazy island.
I warned you, Jerry. Commander S1 is a Euclidean.
Gee, a beautiful girl like that with just a number for a name. What a life.
I wish you would not keep calling her a beautiful girl.
Well, she is. I don't care if she is plenty tough with us. That don't spoil her looks any. She's a swell-looking girl.
She is not a girl. She's terribly old, Jerry.
Huh? How old?
22 years.
Gee, 22. Is she really?
Yes, Jerry. She was given this command on her 21st birthday, nearly 2 years ago.
Gosh, that lets her out then. 22's pretty old.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, Jerry. 15 is a nice age, is it not?
Yeah, it's all right. Kind of young, though. But by the time I'm 21, you'll be 20. That won't be so bad. Oh, but I guess we'd better quit talking about her. She can hear all we say, and she's liable to crack down on us again.
No, Jerry. S1 has closed the transparent housing around the central control chamber. We're quite free to talk now.
But we can see her just as plain as day.
That is more of the transparent steel, and transparent from either side. S1 can see us as well as we see her.
Then we'd better be careful not to make faces at her. Can she tell us she switched on the microphones on this end of the sub so she can hear what we're talking about?
Yes, Jerry. That large green tube at her right will glow when the microphones are active, and the red tube when the transmitter is working.
Boy, what a setup. And to think your mother and Tex really saw us and heard us way out here on this boat.
They will be very worried about us, Jerry, if they were watching when the commander used the ray gun on us.
Oh, don't worry so much. Your mother and Tex Bradford are a couple of the smartest people I ever saw. And if they saw us get laid out with those ray guns, you can bet they kept right on looking till they saw us wake up again.
I hope you are right, Jerry.
Hey, I'm always right. Pretty near.
Yes, Jerry.
Okay. Now let's quit jabbering about nothing and get down to brass tacks.
Brass tacks?
Oh, I mean let's get down to business. talk about what we're going to try to do and how we're going to do it when we get to Johnson's boat.
I think it will be quite useless to plan anything. We will just have to wait until the occasion arises and then take the course which appears most suitable under the conditions existing at the moment.
Boy, I got that one. We wait for the breaks and then jump in, huh?
Jump in the breaks?
Oh, you're getting in my hair. Look, and listen. I mean, we'll do what we think is best when we get a chance to do anything.
I think it would be better to sit quietly and wait for the commander's orders. There is nothing of value that we can do, Jerry.
Oh, don't be too sure about that. For one thing, you ought to know how they handle these subs. So, well, what will the commander do when we get near Johnson's boat?
She will order Johnson to surrender.
Oh, swell. But what then? Suppose Johnson does surrender. How do we get his boat to the island?
If he refuses to run his boat to Euclidia, S1 will sink it with all on board.
Oh, no, she won't. G47 wants the scientific apparatus and Captain Bradford's materials on board that boat.
You may be right, Jerry. G47 wants those things badly, and the commander will make every effort to get the boat to Euclidia.
But what if Johnson refuses to give up the boat?
He will not refuse. Remember that you told him to come to the island when the commander made you send the message.
Yeah, but I stuck a few words in that message so Johnson will know things aren't so good with us. And for the homing pigeon is on his way to Johnson's boat. Johnson will have a lot of tricks figured out before we get to him.
Any trick Johnson might try would only endanger our lives, Jerry. I am sure the commander will find a way to compel Johnson to bring the boat to the island. Through you.
Me? Well, how can she do that?
There are many ways. We shall see.
Well, if I get a chance to talk to Johnson before we get too close to the island, I'll bet he'll figure some way to give old G47 a headache.
Enough of such nonsense.
Gee, she heard us.
The green tube is lighted. We were careless, Jerry.
That is natural with worldly fools. You, Cleostra, should know that only Euclideans are perfect.
Okay, we'll keep quiet, Commander.
I wish you to come forward to the control section. You also, Cleostra.
What do you suppose she wants now?
We must go quickly and find out.
All right. Take this transparent steel wall out of the way. I'm not so good at walking through steel walls.
You are not good at anything. Particularly are your powers of observation not good. The wall has been removed.
So it has, Jerry.
Well, golly whiskers. How could I tell?
You could not, though an intelligent person would.
Oh, thanks for the violets. Come on, Joan.
Be very careful, Jerry, and do nothing to make S1 angry.
Oh, never mind. I mean, I know what I'm doing.
You may sit there, Cleostra. Touch nothing and say nothing. You, Hall, will sit here.
Right here?
Yes, there.
Well, here I am. What do I do now?
Look at this chart. Our position is here. The position of Johnson's boat is there. Check those at once and assure me you agree with the position of Johnson as given in the last message we received from him.
Right. I'll check it.
Do not try to do anything except what you are told, Jerry.
I got it. It's just where Johnson gave his last position.
Good. We will now contact Johnson again and get his present position. If my indicators are correct as to the speed with which he is approaching us, he should be at latitude 27 degrees, 29 to 30 minutes south.
Gee, how can you tell that?
You will notice the needle swaying in this indicator.
Yeah?
This is recording the increase in volume of the exhaust of Johnson's motors as his boat nears us. His exact speed is the square root of the dial reading on that indicator, the result being in degrees per hour.
Jumping catnip. This is sure slick. What do I do now?
You will take over this microphone as before. On the red tube glow, raise Johnson and speak to him as if you were on the yacht at the island. Check his exact position.
Well, do I go now?
You may speak when this red tube glows. Remember your instructions. Reassure Johnson that all is well with your party, but that you need his boat to leave the island with, and ask for his exact position. Ready? Silence, Cleostra.
I understand.
J24Y to J12C. Jerry Hall on J24Y to Johnson on J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12C. J12C. Hello, J12. Jerry Hall on J24Y.
J12C
or
to
Bradford to
J24Y. Hello, Jerry. Johnson on J12C to Jerry Hall on J24Y. Go ahead, J24Y.
Please check your exact speed and position and give me at once. We must be prepared for your exact time of arrival at Island. How soon can I have exact position? Your boat. Go ahead, J12C.
Am exactly 27 degrees, 30 minutes south, making 35 knots on course due south to Island. Check Island position back to me. Go ahead, J24Y.
Okay, J12C. Your position, 27 degrees, 30 minutes south. You are making 35 knots. Island position, 29 degrees south. Does that check?
Repeat of my position, okay. Position of Island, okay. But cannot understand reception of your beam with strength in it. Where are you getting power for generator if yacht is crippled? Last message from you said yacht total wreck. Can you explain that, Hall?
Can't explain now. Keep coming. We'll report to Bradford your position and speed. That is all, J12C. That is all.
Hold it, Hall. Your last message said the bosun was ill. Reassure him all is well. Get that, Hall.
Hey, what did you turn that generator off for? I wanted to hear what Johnson had to say about the bosun.
I realize that, but it will do you no good to hear more about it, nor will it aid Johnson.
Oh, is that so? Well, there's a couple of things you don't know.
Silence. I am completing my calibration of Johnson's speed and position with relation to ours. He is making 35 knots, we 25. His position is 27:30, ours 28:15. We will be directly under Johnson's boat in exactly 45 minutes. You will be free to observe the meeting and the Euclidean method of handling such trifling details.
Oh, you may not find it so trifling if Johnson's all set for you.
Please be careful, Jerry. Say nothing.
I won't have to say anything. Johnson will do all that.
If you think you are going to surprise me because that homing pigeon you call the bosun will arrive at Johnson's boat before we do, you underestimate my intelligence.
Jerry, she knew about the pigeon.
Naturally. And what can Johnson do with the message he will take from the pigeon?
Why, gee, I guess he can't do anything with it.
Precisely. So you see, my young fool, in 45 minutes we will have Johnson, boat, pigeon, formula, and all.
An adventure of the mind. We don't know very much about the mind, a lot less than the psychologists pretend they do. In particular, we know very little about those peculiar qualities of mind that have made it possible for some individuals to see things at a great distance, either in space or in time. But these incidents have happened.
Our father's room, Captain Thompson. Just make yourself comfortable.
You let me know.
Of course, the minute there's any news. Now, don't worry. Your wife will be fine. Would you like a cup of coffee, Captain? You look rather worn out.
No, thanks. Yes, I would like a cup, thanks. I haven't had time to eat since yesterday.
Well, just sit down and I'll be right back with one.
You do look bleached, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the glare from that lamp.
First kid?
Yes.
Oh, well, you have three of them like I have.
I was out at the base, started for town here as soon as she phoned. She was leaving for the hospital, but it still takes 40 minutes to get in.
You part of that rocket business?
The space medicine experimental.
See, is that where they're using you guys as guinea pigs? I read they were even trying telepathy.
I'm sorry, I can't talk about it.
Oh, but I read it in the paper.
Well, I'm sorry. I still can't talk about it. Doesn't that doctor have anything to do but stand around and wait? I'm going to talk to him.
Oh, relax. You can't do anything. Here, the doctors can do something. Even the nurses can do something. Fathers can't do anything. You might as well get used to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why don't you try to get some sleep? Close your eyes and lean back. Might be hours yet.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Oh. It's good to have my eyes closed. 28 hours. Tension, emotion. New technique.
Here's a nice hot cup of coffee for you, Captain.
Oh, he's conked out already. Maybe you just better let him sleep.
No mental barrier. Future.
He seems to be dreaming. I never saw a man look so worn out.
Go back into the woods.
No point in waking him.
No, leave him be.
Get the kids and the old people back. You hear me? Over there. Get them back. Back.
Over there by that brush pile. I see him go down. There. What I tell you? Thompson. Holly, you hit one.
What?
It's me, Clanton, and Diego. Don't you know us? Hey, look what he's forehead, Diego. He must have run spank into a tree limb.
Where am I? What's going on?
Oh, he really gave himself a knock. Hey, come on. Hey, let's move to the woods again. We gotta get out of here. You got hard, Diego. Them bugs will be in here in 15 minutes.
What?
You just heard us hurry up and go. Leave no time to talk now. Pretty good, eh? We all just sort of stumbled onto it.
Sit down, Harvey. I'll bandage that head of yours while we talk. Clanton, tell her about your end of it first.
Well, I left you with your covering guard. Moved the rest all back through the brush, Harvey. We didn't have a bit of trouble at all. When I got the men flung around this spot here, and it's a natural for defense, Harvey. This tree's so thick you can't see through them unless they come over a treetop height. Then I went back to see about you and the boys, and I met Corshank and Swenson. They told me Talbot and Guido was burned, and you was lost.
Hey, you came for me?
Diego, he was still there looking around for you. I just helped him, that's all. And just as we found you, a patrol of the bugs came along the road there, at the edge of the woods, shooting into it. You know how to do. Oh, hold still. Anyhow, we set up camp here. No, we're a bit too miles back in, safe enough for an hour or two.
There, that fixes you. Now, about my end of it, Harvey. I had the women, children, the old people rounded up before the patrol that spotted us hit. I don't think the Kinoids even had a chance to count us. I don't think they even guessed us to be a party as large as we are. After all, they've cleaned up everything but a few stragglers south of the Great Lakes and west of Denver. Anyway, I got them all back through the woods, and I've set up a separate camp for them about 500 yards back in. Your dad was a big help, by the way. He practically carried your wife most of the trip. I'm afraid it was maybe too much for him.
My wife?
Now, sit where you are. You can't do anything about her anyway. There's no reason to expect complications. She had your first son without trouble, didn't she?
Yeah, but that was in the hospital.
Will you forget your wife for 5 minutes? There's 238 other people here who need you right now. I was getting my report.
Go on.
It's better. Now, the old people are tired, and so are the kids. But the kids will recover. We've got straight woods behind us, and there's about a 4-day supply of food left. The question is, can we make the Quetico in that time?
My men can get along right well on half rations.
Fighting and night marching all the way? And what about my bunch? The young women and the older kids will be all right. The younger kids we can take turns carrying, but the older men and women...
Maybe they won't chase us clear to where the old Canadian border used to be. We hit thick brush before that.
You know they will. We have to go deep into the north woods or they'll follow us. That's what's behind this whole Kinoid offensive. They've got to exterminate us inside of the next few years, or their own mutated virus diseases will win the war for us. Half the last few Kinoids have been sick and dying.
I wish I was sure that is you are, Maria.
Well, if I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. Here's a map. Now, here we are now, Harvey. 60 miles from the border.
Yes, I see. Well, what do you want me to do?
Do? Are you sick, Harvey? You're in command of this group. Or did that hit on the head knock your brains completely silly? You're to tell us what to do, Clanton and me with our groups.
But it must be my head. I don't seem to remember. If you could just let me think for a while.
Think? We've got 2 hours until sundown. And if you want to survive, we've got to head for the border tonight. Are you telling us you aren't fit to command this bunch of ours?
I'm sorry.
All right. You better take over, Clanton.
Why not you?
You know I can't handle the men. Well, we'll get your group and my group moving as fast as the sun's down. They've all been fed. But Harvey, whatever's wrong with you, you better get over it quick. Because there's 239 people here who'll never reach Quetico without you in charge. I promise you that. I wish we could move the group by road or across farmland.
Well, why not?
Why not? You want the Kinoids to spot us.
Maria, what are the Kinoids?
You know, I do believe you mean that.
I do.
I never heard of amnesia like this before. Look, you know you're Harvey Thompson, don't you?
Yes.
And you know we're in what used to be Minnesota, heading north on foot toward the Quetico Superior National Forest on the Canadian border, don't you?
Yes.
But you don't know the Kinoids spotted our first attempts at space flight and moved in to wipe us out.
No. But why did they?
Why, they're from Alpha Centauri, the nearest sun with inhabitable planets by our standards. We'd have headed there next.
Well, couldn't anyone explain to them that we wouldn't take their world?
Wouldn't we? What makes you so sure? Anyway, this is the way it worked out. Now, if little groups like ours can survive long enough, the Kinoids will be decimated by their own mutated diseases. They'll have to pull back. We can build again and then go after them.
Are they really bugs?
Oh, it's just a name some soldiers gave them. No, they're almost human, but not quite. Now do you remember?
I don't know.
Harvey, I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm fond enough of you to want you whole and sensible again for your own sake, aside from...
Aside from what, Maria?
Aside from the fact that there's only one man in this group that all the rest will obey without question, and that's you. So far, Clanton and I haven't told anyone that you aren't still giving the orders. Think about that, Harvey. Because if you can't pull us through to safety, nobody can. Remember that. Harvey!
Oh, Maria, where's my wife? I haven't had a chance to see her.
No time for that now. Clanton just came in. We're all ready for that council that you called.
Council?
Come on. These people can't know yet you're not directing them.
Ready and willing, Maria.
Sit down, Harvey. How are the men, Clanton?
Worn out. How are the non-combatants?
Too tired to eat breakfast, most of them. I've left orders for them all to get something in them before they try to sleep. Your wife and son are fine, Harvey. She walked part way and rode in the litter when she got tired. Your father is in much worse shape. He'll insist on helping her.
Scouts are back in. Got a little stretch of open territory ahead. No way to avoid it.
Kinoids waiting for us?
That's right. About a patrol. They couldn't have figured we'd come this way or there'd be more. As it is, we got to get to them fast. They'll be calling for help.
How fast?
You ready to take over, Harvey?
I just wondered, how fast?
15 minutes, if we're lucky. And there's 300 yards of open to cross. Then we're in thick brush for at least 10 miles.
Well, it's best, I suppose, to hit them at twilight. They won't come after us in the dark?
Not in the brush. Not even with air sport.
What's the ground like?
Give me this stick here. The woods juts out like this, and it's meadow both sides. From this point to where they're sitting.
What's that drumming mean?
Nothing. They do that morning, noon, and evening. When there's nothing else to do.
What's their position?
I got them laid out in the grass in a half circle, like you said. Halfway clear around them bugs.
All right, give me the whistle.
would you mind letting us talk by ourselves for a minute? I want a private word with Harvey.
All right with me.
What is it?
You have to move the group right away?
Yes, why?
Some of mine can't.
Well, how bad are they?
Pretty bad. They need a day or two of complete rest. Right now.
We can't wait, Maria. We just can't.
That's what I was afraid of.
The Kinoids will be right at our backs at dawn. If they can keep after us and harry us, they'll wear us all down eventually. And we can't go on fighting for every little clearing. We've got to lose them now. But who is it? Which ones can't go on? Not the children. Not my boy.
No. Not your wife or your boy or any of that group. They've all been worn down by this march, but they're young enough to bounce back. It's the old people that don't.
The old?
Yes. We've got 10 older women, 3 older men, including your father, Harvey. They can't go any farther.
Well, not Dad. Well, he's in good shape for his age.
That's just it. For his age. Under ordinary conditions, you don't notice how quickly an old person tires because they're always catching little rests. On a march like this, though...
We can't just leave them. We can't...
I'm sorry, Harvey. Their lives or the rest of the group. And you're in command.
But the Kinoids would find them before noon tomorrow, and old people with nothing to defend themselves with... The older people have sons and daughters in the group, too. They'd never stand for abandoning their parents.
It's up to you. Harvey, I'm sorry. If you want me, I'll be over there with Clancy.
No, I can't. It'll be kinder to kill them ourselves and to let the Kinoids... Dad, how can I? What's that?
You've been sleeping. You were having some nightmare there.
Oh. What is it, nurse?
A boy, Captain Thompson. You're the father of a boy.
Oh. I have to carry him. Oh, that's the older one. He's all right. Pardon me. I'm still groggy, I guess. A boy. Where is he? How's my wife?
Oh, your wife's just fine. She's still in recovery, and you can talk to her in a few minutes.
Oh, good.
Your son's in an incubator. He's just a little bit lightweight. You can see him in a minute, too. And
Good.
the doctor will talk to you shortly, but will you come down the hall right now, and we'll get the birth certificate filled out?
Oh, sure.
You can sit right there, Captain Thompson, on the side of the desk. Now, what name have you and your wife picked out for your son?
Name? Let's see. Oh, yes, Harvey. Harvey Walter Thompson, Jr.
Harvey Walter. Captain Thompson?
Yes?
Well, Captain Thompson, of course we'll put down whatever you want, but I notice on the admittance slip here your wife's name's down as Mrs. John W. Thompson. Your name is...
John, that can't be right. Now, Harvey was my wife's choice. She had the name all... My name is John.
Well, yes, that's what we have down here on the admittance slip.
My son's name is Harvey.
Just plain Harvey Walter Thompson, no junior. It's easy to be confused. You'd be surprised at some of the fathers. Captain Thompson, are you all right?
All right. I'm all right.
Well, then if you'll sign here.
Yes.
And now it's official. You've got a son to take care of you in your old age, Captain Thompson.
Yes. To make the decision.
Men first, scientists later. The fact of being a man means that they have human emotions, human needs, wills, desires. It's hard for a scientist, as it is for any other man, to see his whole life orientations, his deepest beliefs, knocked flat. When Einstein's theories of relativity were first established, there was one of the major astrophysicists who committed suicide. All he believed had been demolished. Are our scientists to be expected to be any more able to take the shattering blow that the reality of clairvoyance would mean than the other people of our society? There have been incidents, but the scientists don't like them. I don't think any of us do, but they're there.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. With the guilt for the murder of Comanche Joe definitely pinned on Cheney and Lawson, and his own troubles straightened out, Tumbleweed Jones relaxes and becomes his old self, the easygoing, lovable cowhand that Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen had become so fond of on their last trip to the West. To amuse Jimmy, Tumbleweed took them out to his archery range to teach them the art of shooting a bow and arrow. Kent, much to Tumbleweed's amazement, shot a longbow no man had yet been able to draw. But the arrow missed the target and buried itself deep in a gopher hole under a jutting rock. When Jimmy ran to retrieve it, he found something else in the hole, a silver arrow, beaten by hand from a flat piece of precious metal, and on which was engraved a puzzling verse. Listen.
Jimmy, please show me exactly where you found this silver arrow, will you?
Right here, Mr. Kent. When I stooped down to pull the arrow out of this hole, my hand touched something cold.
Was it lying loose right in the hole?
No, it was kind of half under that rock.
I reckon that gopher must have uncovered it a mite when he dug himself in there.
Gosh, how long do you suppose it's been there?
I don't know. Dated 1855. No, wait a minute. 1885. That's almost 60 years ago.
That's about the time silver mining was whooping things up around these here parts. They tell stories about them times that it raised hair on a bald eagle. Say, read that to me again, Mr. Kent. Must mean something.
All right. I shot this arrow into the air, 'twill fall to earth, I know not where. If he who finds it has no fear, he'll search the stream neath the galloping steer.
Now, what do you think the galloping steer is?
That's what makes the riddle, Jimmy. Is there anything around here known as the galloping steer, Tumbleweed?
Well, let's see. Galloping steer. Galloping steer. No, I don't recollect nothing by that handle.
Oh, maybe it's a place where they drive cattle.
No good cattleman gallops his steers, Jim. It makes them scrawny.
Well, think hard, Tumbleweed. Do you remember ever hearing about an old inn or tavern in this part of the country known as the Galloping Steer?
No, not in my recollection.
Boy, this sure is a riddle. Search the stream neath the Galloping Steer.
Well, maybe we'd better start with the stream. That seems to be the key to the puzzle.
Oh, look, Mr. Kent.
Yeah?
Back home, Jackie Kelk, he's that skinny kid I pal around with. Well, we cooked up a kind of a secret code, using a bunch of words and giving them different meanings. Maybe that's what this is, code.
No, I don't think so, Jimmy. What, for instance, would galloping steer mean in your code?
Oh, now, let me think. Galloping steer. Tumbleweed, are hamburgers made out of steer meat?
Why, sure, Jim. Best things you ever ate.
Well, that's it, then. To Jackie and me, galloping steer would mean hamburgers.
Hamburgers? Jimmy, how do you make that out?
Way over my head.
Why, it's simple. Steer meat, as Tumbleweed said, is what hamburgers are made of. And when you eat too many of them, you get a galloping bellyache.
Boy, you and Jackie better patent that code, Jim. Say, it just occurred to me, Tumbleweed. Isn't there an old native around here who might know something about a place called the Galloping Steer that existed in the 1800s?
Don't know if there is, Mr. Kent. Unless it might be Hopeful Jake. Folks out this way just calls him Hopeful, but he's been around these parts a long time.
Well, maybe he's the one to see.
Well, why do they call him Hopeful Jake, Tumbleweed?
Well, I reckon it's account of he's been panning for gold in Red Pebble Creek for nigh on to 45 years. Ain't nobody never found no gold in these parts, but Hopeful, he keeps right on panning and hoping.
Well, can we have a talk with him?
We'll see why not. We'll ride over to Red Pebble. He'll be there. Don't mind that sore shoulder, Jim, getting into the saddle.
Oh, be careful.
Everybody all set?
I'm ready.
Okay, follow me. Get up, boy. Up. No, Tumbleweed. I don't recollect no place branded galloping the stair. Ain't never been such place around here.
Do you remember any...
What'd you say? You gotta yell at him, Mr. Kent. He don't hear nothing unless he ain't supposed to hear.
Now, that ain't right, Tumbleweed. You know it. What was it you was going to ask me, partner?
I just wondered if you knew of any landmark, rock formation, or cliff, or anything that might have been called Galloping Steer.
Nope, I don't. What do you want to know for?
Well, we found a silver arrow.
Just a minute, Jimmy.
Did you say silver arrow, yearling?
Why, yes. Do you know anything about a silver arrow?
Let me see it.
We're just letting you see it, Hopeful. Now keep it.
Cry your tongue, Tumbleweed. Don't you know no better respect for your elders? No, where at this silver arrow?
Here it is. You know anything about it?
Yep, that's genuine. Nobody else could have made it like that.
What you jawing about, Hopeful?
Partners, this here silver arrow was made by the hand of one of the greatest and finest men ever to draw breath.
What was his name?
And no hombre living ever knew. Folks called him the Silver Arrow.
Gosh, a Western desperado, I'll bet.
No, he weren't none of that. He was a plague to bad men. A guardian of law and order.
Did you know him, Hopeful?
Nope, I told you nobody never knew him. Nobody never learned who he was. But he saved my life once, he did.
Could you tell us something about him?
Well, all I can tell you is what I recollect about my own experience. That was about 50 years ago when I was a young'un. I was manager of the stagecoach office up there, Hangman's Gulch, when it was a booming with silver mining. When nobody ever dreamed it'd turn into a ghost town like it is today.
You say it's a ghost town?
Yeah. Plumb deserted. Everybody pulled stakes once the silver vein petered down to nothing. Well, one night I was counting my days' receipts and making ready some silver shipments going east when the door opened.
Rich, what is sky, hombre? Why, who? What do you want? Never mind the palabra. Rich, pronto. You're wasting your time. I ain't got much here. We'll see you once I get rid of your guns. All right. Hand over them cartwheels.
There ain't much. Only about $100.
Quick. Hand them over. The pouches, too.
I can't give you them pouches. They don't belong to me. That's silver going east.
Hand them over.
Well, here they are.
Yeah. Now, being smart fella, stay where you are. Don't move a muscle. For 5 minutes. You get plugged full of lead.
And if I'll let you get away with it...
Stay where you are, I shoot.
Shoot and be hanged. I'm a-coming. Well, I'll be a local steer. What made him keel over? Dead. Deader than a doorknob. A silver arrow in his back. Sure as I'm a-sitting here. Yep. There was this silver arrow sticking right out of his back. That was his mark, and there was no mistaking, I'm here to tell you. If the silver arrow hadn't have got him just then, that bandit's bullets would have finished me sure.
Well, did he always return loot taken from bandits he killed?
Nope. He built up a tremendous fortune from robbing the rich bandits. But he used a lot of it to help the poor.
Gosh, sort of a Western Robin Hood.
Oh, Hopeful, did you say that happened over at Dead Man's Gulch?
Yep. That's where it was.
Well, why don't we go over and have a look around there?
Oh, can we? I'd like to see a ghost town.
Nothing much to see, Jim.
You better not go near Dead Man's Gulch.
Why do you say that, Hopeful?
Oh, tain't healthy. Prowling around ghost towns. Oh, sir, let 'em lay. Tain't healthy.
The chances are we wouldn't find nothing.
Well, you can't tell. Let's go, Mr. Kent.
Yeah, I think we will. I'm just as curious as Jim to have a look at a deserted western mining town.
Partner, I'm a-warning you. Don't you go there. Give up a-searching for the Silver Air's meaning. Won't lead to no good. I know, and I'm a-warning you.
Have you told us all you know?
Can't tell you no more. I'm just a-warning you to stay away from Dead Man's Gulch. Ghost towns ain't healthy.
Shall we leave, Tumbleweed?
Much obliged for the information, Hopeful. Drop around to my ranch sometime.
Now, look here, Tumbleweed. Steer clear of Dead Man's Gulch. It ain't healthy.
Don't you worry about us. We're not afraid of ghost towns, are we, Jimmy?
Oh, of course not. Let's go.
Be seeing you, Hopeful. Steady, boy, steady.
I warned you, Tumbleweed.
Ready, Mr. Kent? Jimmy?
All set.
Get up, boy. Get up. Come on. Over yonder's a saloon and dance hall. This was a pretty wild town in its day.
It isn't wild anymore. Nothing but cobwebs and dust. Gives me the creeps.
Let's dismount and have a look around.
Whoa there. Whoa.
See anything resembling a galloping steer, Jimmy?
Well, I see a lot of tumble-down shacks. No self-respecting steer galloping or not would be found dead in this place.
You're right.
Reckon he is.
Just looking at all this dust makes me thirsty. I don't suppose there's any water in this ghost town, is there, Tumbleweed?
I recollect seeing a spring the other side of the sheriff's office.
Oh, I'll take a look.
Meet us in back, Jimmy.
Okay.
Well, Tumbleweed, where do we start?
I don't know, Mr. Kent. That there Silver Arrow hombre left something hid in this town. It's going to take a heap of looking to find it. Supposing we go...
What was that?
I don't know. Come from over where Jimmy went.
It sounded like a human voice. Follow me, Tumbleweed.
Was it Jimmy whose shrill scream suddenly broke the death-like silence of Dead Man's Gulch? Or is the ghost town inhabited? Mystery and adventure loom ahead, so don't fail to tune in on the next episode. Follow the story with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. Ignoring the warning of the old prospector, Hopeful Jake, to steer clear of Dead Man's Gulch, a deserted ghost town, Kent, Tumbleweed, and Jimmy went there in search of a clue to the puzzling verse engraved on an old silver arrow Jimmy had found. Hopeful Jake had told them of a legendary Western Robin Hood known only as the Silver Arrow, who hunted down bandits and shot silver arrows into their backs. At Dead Man's Gulch, Jimmy went to look for water. Suddenly, a piercing scream broke the death-like silence of the ghost town. Kent and Tumbleweed raced to Jimmy's rescue, only to find him pale and transfixed. He had seen a figure darting between the dust-laden skeletons of the town shacks. When he called out, it stopped for a moment, screamed, and vanished into the shadows. A thorough search of the deserted shacks revealed no sign of man or beast. Puzzled, Kent and Tumbleweed rested for a moment on the steps of what had once been the sheriff's office. Listen.
You say you saw whatever screamed, Jimmy? What did it look like?
I couldn't tell. The sun was in my eyes. It was just a blur.
Might have been a coyote.
No coyote ever screamed like that. It was a human voice. Jimmy, are you sure you didn't scream?
Me? How could I? My tongue was stuck to the roof of my mouth. That's where it is now. If I don't get some water soon, I don't know what I'll do.
And Tumbleweed found a stream back of this sheriff's office. Come on, we can all stand a drink.
I've never been so thirsty in all my life.
Well, take it easy, Jim boy. Don't gulp it down unless you're looking for a bellyache.
There's the stream.
Oh, boy, lead me to it.
Don't drink fast, Jimmy.
Oh, is that good?
Well, you rest a while. Go ahead, Tumbleweed.
Yeah, nice clear water.
Can I have a little more, Mr. Kent?
Well, just a little.
Okay.
All right, now that's enough.
I feel like a new person. There's nothing like... Mr. Kent.
Oh, great Scott, what's the matter? You scared me out of a year's growth.
Look at this rock at the edge of the stream. Look at the top of it.
What in tarnation?
Top is carved in the shape of a galloping steer.
Jimmy, you're right.
Well, I'll be hog-tied and sewn. You reckon that's the galloping steer that Silver Arrow wrote about in his poem, Mr. Kent?
Could very well be. The verse said, search in the stream neath the galloping steer. Well, this is the stream, and there's the galloping steer.
Yep, that's correct.
And maybe the answer to the puzzle is under this rock.
Well, we'll see in just a minute. I'll lift it.
Oh, hold on a minute, Mr. Kent. You better let me give you a hand. That rock looks mighty heavy for one armor.
Oh, no, I can... Oh, all right, Tumbleweed, thanks. Grab a hold of that end. I'll take it here.
Okay, I got it. All right, now stand back, Jimmy.
All right, now heave. There we go.
Yeah, she's over.
Yes, and look what's under it.
Another silver arrow. Just like the first one.
Well, I'll be dogged. Is there writing on this one, too?
Wait till I wipe the tarnish off.
Is it Mr. Kent?
Wait a minute.
Gosh, there are more goose pimples.
There. Let's see now. Yes, there is. Yes, sir, there's another verse on this one. And it's even more puzzling than the other.
Boy, oh boy, this is getting exciting. What does it say?
It says, in a cave by the hill where rest the dead, you'll find my mate in the seventh head.
That's a rip snorter. We ain't never going to be able to figure that one out.
Gosh. In the cave where rest the dead. Where would that be?
Yeah, I haven't the faintest idea, Jimmy. But it's got to be around here someplace. Let's try to figure this thing out step by step.
Well, how can you do that? This cotton poem don't even make no sense.
Now, wait, Tumbleweed, wait. It's got to make sense. Now, think hard. You know of any place in this vicinity that might fit the description?
Mr. Kent, I was foaled, raised, and saddle-busted in these here parts. And I ain't never heard of no graveyard staked out in a cave. Well, I tell you, that poem is like a polecat drug across a trail to throw you off the scent.
Gosh, I hope not.
No, I'm certain this message means something. Let's see now. In a cave by the hill where rest the dead. And Tumbleweed, do you know of any place around here that might be called a cave in which anybody has ever found bones? I mean, not necessarily human bones, any kind.
You mean bones of animals?
Yes, even coyotes or buzzards, any kind.
Let me think now. Sure, I reckon I do know about some bones. Buffalo bones.
Well, where are they, Tumbleweed? Are they in a cave?
Come to think of it, they was found in a cave over by them hills yonder.
You mean right there in back of the town, where the silver was mined?
Yep. I could shoot an arrow right smack dab into it from here.
Tumbleweed, how did those buffalo bones get into the cave?
Well, the story goes that a big herd of buffalo run into the cave to get out of a blizzard that lashed across this country once about 100 years ago.
What happened to them? Was the cave sealed by the storm?
Might just as well have been. That storm blew and blew for nigh under a whole month. When it was all over, them buffalo had died of lack of fodder.
And the bones were never taken out?
Nope. I reckon nobody had no use for them in the first place. And then there was talk that kept folks away. That feared to go in there. They still are, for a fact.
What kind of talk?
Well, I don't rightly know, Mr. Kent. I didn't put no stock in them stories. Something about queer sounds that used to come out of there.
Queer sounds? What sort of sounds?
Like as if somebody was moving around in there. And some folks said is how they heard pounding, like a man was beating out horseshoes.
Golly. Do you think...
I think it's a lot of nonsense. Just stories made up by local pranksters. Perhaps by somebody who had a reason for keeping people out of there.
Well, maybe so. I reckon you're right. Anyhow, I think we ought to be hitting the trail for the ranch if we want to make it before sundown. Shadows is beginning to get a mite longer now.
Let's just walk over and look. If we find the arrow mentioned in this verse, we'll take it along and puzzle it out at home. If we don't, well, there's nothing lost, and we'll come back out here tomorrow morning to take up where we left off.
Sure, let's do that, Tumbleweed.
Well, I don't know.
You're not scared, are you, Tumbleweed?
Oh, now, Jim, you know better than to say old Tumbleweed's afraid of anything. That is, leastwise, not while I have my bow and arrows with me.
Oh, I was just fooling, honest.
Of course you was, Tumbleweed. You know that. Well, come on. It's getting dark.
Okay.
We won't stay any longer than it takes to find out if it's the right cave.
And pick up the arrow, mate.
Yeah. Let's mosey, then.
As Kent, Tumbleweed, and Jimmy start for the cave, A pair of beady eyes watches their progress closely. Hiding in the ever-lengthening shadows that mark the gathering dusk, a figure darts from one deserted, broken-down building to another, keeping close behind the two men and their young companion. Beyond the edge of the town, the figure moves from sagebush to rock, taking advantage of any cover. As the three approach the mouth of the cave, Jimmy stops short.
I tell you, Mr. Kent, I feel like somebody's following us.
Oh, nonsense, Jimmy.
Just cause this here is called a ghost town, Jim, ain't no reason for you to get them kind of feelings. It's only called that because ain't nobody lives here in these buildings. Ain't been nobody here for nigh on to 40 years.
I know that, and honest, I don't feel creepy or scared, but since I heard that scream...
Of course, I understand. Now let's read the message on this second arrow before we go into the cave so we know what we're looking for.
I know. You'll find my mate in the seventh head, the mate to that arrow.
That's right, Jimmy. He's got a good memory.
Lucky he has, because it's getting too dark for reading now, and he's got us no flashlight. So let's get this over pronto and get on back to the ranch for some chow.
Well, we'll be on our way soon. Come on, let's go in.
Dark as pitch in here.
Sure could use a flashlight now.
Yes, I could. Here, wait, I'll strike a match.
Mr. Kent, look back there. Those eyes.
Was an animal of some kind. Well, I put an arrow to my bow.
Coming closer. Hold it, Tumbleweed, don't shoot.
The match has gone out. Light another one quick, Mr. Kent.
Yeah. Moved up closer. Let me shoot it before it jumps us.
Mr. Kent.
Stand back, I'm going to let fly.
No, Tumbleweed, wait a minute.
What for? Why don't you let...
Oh, wait, I'll show you. Here, Kitty.
Kitty? Why, that must be a...
Sounds like a cat.
That's exactly what it is, Jimmy.
Just a harmless kitty.
Oh, gosh. Sure had me scared for a minute. Mr. Kent, that match is burning your fingers.
Huh? Oh, I must have forgotten. Here, I'll light another one.
Well, there's your buffalo bones on the floor over yonder.
They're scary in this light. Those skulls.
Yeah, dozens of them lined up. Let's see now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the seventh head over there. Jimmy, Tumbleweed, we were right. This is the cave.
Is the arrow there?
Sure is. Here, duplicate of the other two.
Say, Mr. Kent, it's just as dark outside as it is in here. We better mosey on back.
Golly, I can't wait to see what this arrow says.
Well, while you're looking, you two, I'll mosey over and get the horses and Jimmy's pony. I'll take the kitten with me.
Wait, Tumbleweed. We'll need you to get the answer to this riddle.
Well, what do you mean?
Just a minute. I'll light another match and read it to you.
What's it say?
Here it is. Pace 7 to the south, then face the east. Shoot this arrow where the sun shines least.
Sounds just like one of those old-fashioned riddles.
Yeah, it does. Seems easier to figure than the others. All we have to do is follow the directions and then shoot this arrow where the sun shines least.
It's a cinch. The sun ain't shining no place now.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we have to come back and try it tomorrow.
I can hardly wait.
Well, you'll just have to wait, Jim. Look, get the use of all of us walking back for the horses. You and Jim sit here, and I'll go get them.
That sounds good to me, because I'm pretty tired.
Okay, Tumbleweed. We'll accept your offer. Meanwhile, we can explore this cave a little more. It's my last match.
Be right back.
Oh, there goes that match. Like the last one.
Mr. Kent, will you promise not to laugh at me if I tell you something?
Certainly, Jimmy. What is it? Are you frightened? Don't be afraid to admit fear. That's the best way to lick it.
No, it's not that exactly. It's just that I've still got that funny feeling.
Jimmy, that sounded like Tumbleweed. Come on.
Mr. Kent, what's that?
Jimmy, stand back.
Mr. Kent, where are you? What's happened?
I'm right here, Jimmy. There's a landslide. The entrance to the cave will be blocked up.
So we can't get out. Quick, fast.
Jimmy!
Will Clark Kent be forced to reveal his true identity to Jimmy Olsen in order to save his young friend's life? What was the strange meaning of Tumbleweed's scream for help a moment before the avalanche of falling earth and rocks imprisoned Kent and Jimmy in the cave of the Buffalo Bones? Are these two incidents somehow tied up with a slinking figure that followed our three friends on their way to the cave? Don't miss a single episode of this thrilling story. Tune in and listen with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to Rockin' into the Future with
Corbett! Hey, Cadet!
Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Corbett! Space Cadet!
Attention Polaris crew, Captain Strong speaking. Report to my office immediately for orientation assignment. That is all.
As their skipper's voice crackles over the dormitory intercom at Space Academy, Cadets Tom Corbett and Roger Manning race out of their quarters and jump on the slide walk which will carry them to the Academy Administration Building. This is the moment they have been waiting for. Special training duty on one of the many Solar Guard space stations. Now, as they stride down the corridor to their skipper's office.
Astrogation. Hey, what in the universe are you mumbling about, Roger?
Just putting in my pitch with Lady Luck, Tom.
On our assignment, you mean?
Nothing else. Just give me a nice 2-week course in astrogation right here at the Academy.
Oh, I get it. So you can date Helen Ashton every night.
That's right, Space Boy. Say, have you ever seen anything like her? What lines? Like
I know. Just like a rocket destroyer. And you're a space cruiser closing in.
Yeah, that's right. And class? Listen, she's got more class.
Okay. Damp your tubes. Here's the skipper's office. Spaceman's luck, Roger.
Spaceman's luck, Tom. Well, go ahead. Open the door. Hey, there's someone with the skipper.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Captain Strong. I didn't know you were busy.
That's all right, Corbett. Just wait there. Stay with you in a second.
Yes, sir.
Hey, who's the character with the skipper? I'd hate to meet him on a dark night.
Quiet, Roger.
All right, look. I've studied all the reports. Do you have anything to add to them?
I just wanted to explain a couple of things, Captain.
There is nothing to explain, Loring. Your flights have interfered with normal spaceplane operations. And we've had to send patrol ships to haul your freighters out of trouble 6 times in the last month. All because you won't follow regulations.
I've only got a small freight business, Captain. 2 ships, that's all. I got to cut corners to compete with the big outfit.
You don't cut corners out in space, Loring. So until you learn that, your company is grounded.
What? You can't do that.
Oh, yes, I can. Your charter to Venus is revoked for a minimum of 6 months. Maybe that will give you enough time to study the regulations.
Now, look here, Strong. Who do you think you are?
I'll show you who I am if you don't get out of this office right now and get that cramped ship of yours off our spaceport.
Well, Mr. Big, eh? Okay, hotshot, you win. But we'll just see if you can keep me grounded.
Boy, you really blasted him, Skipper.
And I meant to, Manning. Space travel is dangerous enough without shoestring operators like Loring adding to our worries.
Well, what did he do, Skipper?
Oh, take a couple of hours to list all the complaints. Right now, I want to give you your assignment.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Now, boys, as you know, each cadet unit is sent to a particular Solar Guard station for on-the-spot training, giving you practical experience in what you've been taught in class. The Polaris unit is assigned to a 2-week tour of duty on Venus Space Station.
Oh, no.
Anything wrong, Manning?
Oh, no, sir, but how about Astro?
What about him?
Well, he's left the unit for special duty. I guess that means we don't have to go to the space station until he returns, do we?
Cadet Astro will join your unit on the station. Any more questions?
No, sir.
All right. Now return to your quarters and get your gear together. We blast off at 1800 hours.
Say, speaking of blast off, look at that old space freighter going up.
Loring's still up to his old tricks. He didn't need that much acceleration, and he knew it.
Well, you don't have to worry about him, sir. Not after grounding him for 6 months.
Well, I hope not. That he's a sharp operator. It's better to keep an eye on him than be sorry.
Blast your hide, Ross. It's all your fault. You hadn't run that extra flight from Venus against orders, you wouldn't have made that forced landing. And on the Academy spaceport, of all places, right in the lap of the Solar Guard.
Well, you want me to get the cargo through, don't you?
Yeah, but I didn't want you to act like a hotshot. Now they've revoked my charter for 6 months. Who gets the franchise they took away from you?
Oh, probably the Venusport Space Freight Company. Why?
Small outfit, ain't it? With only 4 ships?
Yeah, that's right. But they're brand new.
Suppose those ships run into trouble. More than there was on yours. A lot of accidents, for instance.
Accidents, eh? What kind of accidents?
What do you care?
Well, I don't want to get mixed up in any killing. The Solar Guard is too tough.
Who said anything about killing? Just crack-ups. You leave everything to me. When I get finished with the Venusport Space Freight Company, they'll think they've been hit with their own private asteroid belt. And you'll be back in business again.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Say, all you space cadets, how'd you like to be in that rocket ship, blasting off into space? Well, that's only one of the thrilling adventures to come in the future. Now, you've heard people say that the future belongs to those who prepare for it. Well, the smart thing for you to do is to start preparing right now. Kellogg's Pep is one of the good foods that helps you to do just that. Now, if you want to help yourself to build strong bone and muscle, one of the ways is to make sure the cereal on your breakfast table is Kellogg's Pep. And you can bet that's the cereal Tom Corbett reaches for each morning at Space Academy.
You bet I do, Spaceman. Kellogg's Pep is more than just a swell-tasting breakfast cereal. Pep gives you build-up food values, too. More builder-upper food values than any other wheat flake cereal. More than the average daily need of vitamin B1 and sunshine, vitamin D. If you have your eyes on the future, Spaceman, there's no two ways about it. Ask your mom to serve up the Space Cadet cereal. Kellogg's Pep.
And wait till you taste that special Kellogg malty flavor. Why, you'll be back for second helping just about every time. Now, just remember, for the cereal that gives you top-notch flavor and build-up wheat values, too, get the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Drifting in a steady orbit around its mother planet, the Venus space station looks like a huge metal ball studded with gaping holes, the airlocks, which serve as landing ports for rocket ships. Now, after several days of indoctrination, we find Tom Corbett and Roger Manning on duty at their respective stations.
Space Freighter Janie Allen from Venus Space Station. Your approach course is 197, corrected. Reduce speed to minimum thrust and approach spaceport landing deck 3. End transmission.
Working hard, space boy?
Well, Roger, what are you doing here?
There's nothing to do up on the radar deck. Besides, I have the emergency alarm on. Brother, of all the crummy places to be stuck.
Could be worse.
Nothing could be worse. Helen Ashton on Earth and me on a space station.
Well, we're doing an important job, Roger, and doing it well, or Captain Strong wouldn't leave us alone so much.
Yeah, he's too busy worrying about those accidents on the Venusport freight ship. Now, if I only had a teleceiver...
What do you need a teleceiver for?
To give me some company. Say, I wonder if I change the frequency...
What frequency?
Space boy, I'm beginning to get a rocket blasting idea. See you later.
Hey, Roger, wait a minute. Roger! Oh, great. Now what kind of mischief is he up to?
I told you, Loring, I can't get near the Elizabeth Chester. All the accidents must be making them cagey.
Oh, it's even more important now to rig up another accident.
Why?
I found out that Solar Guard's going to investigate Venusport Space Freight Company. If we can set up this accident, it'll be the last straw. We'll be back in business again.
Yeah, but how? I told you I can't get near the freighter. They got guards all around her.
All right, then, there's only one way. We have to blast off with her.
With her?
Yeah. She carries passengers. We'll make her crack up in space.
Yeah, but what happens to us?
We'll get out the escape hatch and space it.
And drift around in space? Oh, no, not for me.
Listen, we'll fix everything so we can jump out near the Venus Space Station. And when the Elizabeth Chester cracks up, we'll be the only survivors. The station will send out a jet boat and we'll be saved.
Yeah, but, that means killing the crew. Look who's afraid now.
I don't like it, Laurie. I'd rather wait.
They can't wait. I'll go and make the arrangements for the tickets now. And you get whatever you need to make this the worst accident the Venusport Company ever had.
Jetliner San Francisco from Venus Space Station. You are cleared on Space Lane J, Level 2. Make standard check for approach orbit to Earth's destination. End transmission.
Good morning, Tom.
Oh, good morning, Captain Strong. Message to you from Solar Guard headquarters on Earth.
Thanks. It's about those accidents on the Venusport Freight Company's ships. There's going to be an investigation.
I should think there would be. They've had 4 accidents in the last week. Worse record than Loring's company.
That's strange, though, that this outfit has new ships. Oh, well, that's space travel for you. Never can tell what'll happen. Oh, by the way, isn't Manning on radar watch?
Why, yes, sir.
Well, it's 8:47. Why hasn't he made his standard quarter-hour check?
Well, he may be plotting some space junk, sir.
Well, he's still supposed to report.
Yes, sir.
I think I'd better go up there and find out if anything's wrong.
Well, I'm sure everything's okay, sir.
Oh, you are, eh? Well, knowing Manning as I do, I'm not.
Pull in your horns, Roger. There's a space storm coming your way.
It was easy, honey. I switched the radar frequency on the station, beamed to a teleceiver line on Earth, and called you up, my little space pet. Genius, huh? Now, don't forget, we have a date exactly 5 days from today, and... Yeah, what do you... Uh-oh. Bye, baby. Morning, Captain Strong.
What's going on here, Manning?
I was talking, sir.
Talking? To whom?
To whom, sir?
That's what I asked you, Manning.
I was, talking to Worth, sir.
Was the conversation official business?
You mean official, like here on the station?
Official, like here on the station.
No, sir.
You failed to make your quarter-hour check to tower control.
Yes, sir.
And you've altered official equipment for your personal use.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of the seriousness of your negligence?
I'm aware of that,
And
sir.
can you repair the radar and use it as it was intended?
Yes, sir.
Then do so immediately. There are ships in flight depending on your information. Perhaps this is the answer to a sudden outbreak of accidents since you arrived on this station.
But this is the first time I've done this, sir.
I can only believe what I see, Manning. Maybe this is the first time. I hope, for your sake, it is.
Yes, sir.
Meantime, when you are not on duty, you are confined to your quarters. I'll decide on disciplinary action later.
Come on, Ross. Hurry up and get that spacesuit on.
Take it easy, Loring. We got plenty of time.
No, we haven't. Control deck is already in contact with the space station.
Okay. Okay, help me get this over my shoulder. Okay, I got it now.
All right, we better put on our space helmets now. Might not get a chance later.
Yeah, you're right.
You all set?
All set. Better check the companionway. Make sure it's clear. Some of the crew might think it's kind of funny for us to be walking around in spacesuits.
Hold it. It's all clear. Come on.
Yeah, sure you know what to do, Loring.
Yeah. I smashed the hydraulic system leading to the steering vane.
Right. As soon as you finish the job, I cut the radar and communication cables. Lucky for us, we can reach the cables and the system lines near the control deck hatch.
Easy now. There's the hatch. Got your tools ready?
Yeah. I'll open the access plate.
Come on, hurry up, Ross. In 10 minutes, I want this ship to be space-guard.
Elizabeth Chester from Space Station. Correct your course and reduce speed. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Corbett, what's wrong?
It's that space freighter, the Elizabeth Chester. She isn't decelerating fast enough and hasn't corrected course for the airlock approach. I can't seem to raise her.
Well, isn't she following the radar beam in?
No, sir. 6 degrees off.
Well, keep trying to raise her. I'll go up to the radar deck and see what's wrong.
You'd better, sir. Another minute on this heading and she'll plow right into us.
Manning.
Aye, Captain Storm?
What's the matter with your radar beam on the Elizabeth Chester? She needs it to get into the airlock.
I've got it on her, sir, but they're not picking it up.
Are you sure you reset the beam properly after that stupid trick you pulled?
Yes, sir, I'm positive, but it just isn't reaching the Elizabeth Chester. I don't know why.
Manning, if that ship crashes, I'll hold you personally responsible.
Hey, the disaster alarm.
Attention emergency crews! Attention emergency crews! Stand by for crash approach! Near airlock 7. Stand by for crash approach!
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by.
Here's the latest word about the sensational new prize you get in every package of Kellogg's Pep. It's called a Magic Eye. The Magic Eye is a bright, shining plastic disc with a picture mounted in the center. But wait! Here's the big news. You can jiggle the Magic Eye, and the picture actually starts moving in exciting action.
Yes, Spaceman, the word is going around. The Magic Moving Picture Eye is the terrific new prize that you get free at no extra cost in every package of Kellogg's Pep. You just get a package of better than ever Kellogg's Pep. Open it up, and there's your Magic Eye. Nothing to mail in and no waiting.
And can you have fun with these Magic Eyes? With one, you'll see a giant locomotive thundering down the track. Another Magic Eye shows a Douglas jet plane streaking through the clouds. And besides, you can see Paramount star Bob Hope swinging a bat. Tennis star Bobby Riggs showing his famous backhand. Yes, you can get as many as 16 different Magic Eyes, each one crammed with exciting action. Start your collection today. Get a package of Kellogg's Pep from your neighborhood grocers. Open it up, and while you're enjoying the best-tasting wheat cereal ever, you'll be having fun with a Magic Eye that comes right on the package. Don't wait. Start your Magic Eye collection now. Get the Build-Up Wheat Cereal. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
A space freighter has crashed into Venus Space Station. The Elizabeth Chester, sabotaged by Loring, the owner of a rival freight company, and Ross, his chief pilot. Now, an hour later, Tom and Roger wait anxiously for Captain Strong.
Oh, sit down, Roger. Everything will be okay.
Nothing will make all those guys in the crew okay, Tom. I'm nothing but a space-happy bum. Now they'll probably kick me out of the academy.
Roger, are you sure that beam was working?
Tell you, Tom, I had the Chester smack on the button. I checked it 4 times. I know that beam was okay.
Well, there's one way to find out, Manning.
Captain Strong.
Do you have any suggestions, sir? We'll try anything.
I know that beam was okay, sir.
Manning, you still face a serious charge for changing a frequency scale, but I don't think you would deliberately lie, so here's what I want you to do.
Want more coffee, Russ? Who wants coffee when there's going to be an Academy investigation? Suppose they find out that we cut the radar cable.
Relax, will you? Strong doesn't suspect a thing. Besides, he has the cadet under arrest.
You don't know these guys in Space Academy. They don't stop digging for facts, they'll find out.
They can't prove a thing. The crew's dead and the ship's nothing but a pile of junk. Here, drink this coffee.
I know we shouldn't have tried it. It was crazy. It was all your idea, Loring.
Will you forget it?
They'll find out, I tell you.
Shut up, you fool. Here comes Strong. Hello there, Strong. I wanted to talk to you, see about transportation to Venusport.
You're not going to Venusport, Loring. You're under arrest. You and Ross.
Arrest for what?
Sabotage and wholesale murder.
Oh, you're crazy. You can't prove anything.
Yes, we can, Loring. We just checked that radar beam with a dummy run on a jet boat. The beam was in perfect order, on the exact frequency.
Okay, so it was. How does that make us guilty?
Well, that in itself didn't. But it opened up a whole new line of investigation. It showed there must have been something wrong with the space freighter's receivers. And we examined the wreckage closely. We found that the radar cables had been cut. So had the hydraulic lines for the steering deck.
You're trying to pull a fast one. That space freighter's just a mess of junk. It smashed itself to pieces. They're lost out in space.
Oh, no, Loring. You forgot an elementary rule of space. Everything drifts in a regular orbit. Nothing is lost in space. And the wreckage of the Elizabeth Chester floated along right with the space station. So it was an easy job to find the section where you'd cut the cables and broken the hydraulic system.
I told you, Loring. I told you it wouldn't work.
Shut up, Ross.
No, I'm getting out of here. They're not putting me on a penalized variety.
Ross, come back here. Ross, get away from that airlock.
Ross, look.
The poor devil, he picked the wrong airlock.
Hey, he's gone.
Yes, that airlock opened out into space. No one can help him now. He's paid in full for the crew of the Elizabeth Chester. Well, boys, Loring made a full confession, and I'm taking him back to Earth for trial. But Manning, so help me, if you get into any more trouble...
I promise, Captain Strong, from here on in, I'm strictly an earthworm. Skipper, suppose Ross hadn't run for it. There wouldn't have been any proof at all.
No, there wouldn't. But it was the one thing I counted on most. Ross was an old Space Academy cadet, a few years before me. Oh, he didn't graduate, but he knew how thorough the Academy is in its investigations and what it means to accuse a cadet of a crime. He couldn't take it.
Gosh, we're important people.
Oh, you're not important. It's what you represent, Manning. And that's what Ross was afraid of. He knew when a Space Academy cadet or a Solar Guard officer says black is black, it's not green, pink, gray, or blue. It's black. And remember that, Manning.
Uh-oh. Roger, what's the matter? Well, does that include everything you say to everybody?
Everything?
Oh, no.
What's the matter, Manning? Well, you look sick.
With all the promises he's made to about 24 girls, I guess he should look sick.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Thursday, when Tom and Roger receive a deadly warning that sends them into the jungles of Venus in Part 2 of The Space Station of Danger. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast were Edward Bryce and Jan Merlin. Today's program was written by Richard Jessup and directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes, both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
This program came to you from New York. America is sold on ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are staggering across the blazing Sahara, your body charred by the sun, while somewhere ahead of you, lying in wait for you, is a tribe of natives
ready to either make you their king or kill you.
Listen now as Escape brings you Les Crutchfield's exciting story, Diary of a Madman.
From Berlino's History of the Second World War, Volume 2, page 98. During the month of November 1942, the disintegrating German forces in North Africa, with the British Eighth Army doggedly at their heels, moved wearily westward. Morale was low, desertions frequent. But the soldiers of the Third Reich, who singly or in small groups struck southward into the terrible vastness of the Sahara, soon found the blazing days and the freezing nights and the dry and lonely cruelty of the desert far more formidable than any mortal foe. The fate of most is unknown, for few of them were ever heard of again.
North Africa, November 24th, 1942. Today I begin my diary. The diary of Unteroffizier Hans Brock, German 15th Armored Division. Entry number 1. 9 p.m. A light wind is throwing a haze of dust and fine sand over the bivouac area. And visibility is poor. A perfect night for it. They are waiting for me now, out at the last outpost on our southern flank. I picked them myself. 10 men who fear neither God nor devil. Desperate men who stand ready to gamble with death for a chance at an empire. Karl? Careful.
Where is it?
Hans, where are you?
Over here. Flash the light, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. Turn it off now. Are we all here?
Yeah.
No one missing?
We are all here, Hans.
Well, then let us not waste time. There's a lot to be done before morning.
Oh.
All right, you men. All of you know the general plan, and all of you have agreed to it. What remains now are the details and the final decision.
But the details first, Hans. What equipment? Supplies? Arms?
Our transportation you saw in the flashlight, a D7 half-track with sand tires, overhauled this morning in excellent condition.
Good choice. It's light and fast.
I have 450 liters of gasoline, 200 liters of water. More than sufficient. We'll reach Tel Amil Oasis in less than 3 days.
With luck?
No, it's a matter of planning, Carl, not luck. As for food, there's plenty. Ammunition? 3,000 rounds for the Schmeissers, 2,000 for your sidearm.
But the gasoline, Hans, is not enough. It's 1,500 miles to the Niger.
Roughly, yeah. The fuel will take us 1,000 miles.
And after that, we walk.
Exactly. But by then, there will be no danger of pursuit and no Arabs. The oases are close together, and there's plenty of wild game. And the price is more than worth the hardship.
The Empire of the Niger has 1 million native subjects, slaves, taking their orders from us.
Yeah, that's it, Gebo. 500,000 of them. Hating the French, ready to revolt. Ours for the asking. The Empire of the Niger, with every one of us a king. The alternative. Retreat. Day after day. With the British behind us and the Americans ahead. And no reinforcements now or ever. Back there is the camp and retreat. South of us, beyond the desert, is an empire. Our empire. 4 p.m., November 25th. The heat is terrific. We are lying in the hollow between 2 sand dunes, with a camouflage net covering the truck. Until we are farther south, we dare travel only at night. 4 German scout planes have passed over during the day. The Luftwaffe has orders to strafe any deserters sighted. But fortunately, the breeze continues. and our tracks are covered by drifting sand. Morale of the men is good. Prospects, excellent. Just now they are making ready for the night's run.
All loaded, Hans. Ready when you are.
Right with you, Carl.
Think we'll reach the Tel Aviv Oasis before morning?
Yeah, unless they run into too much drifting sand.
There's two of them! Belly up the ground!
Quick! The dogs are seeing us down. Get down!
They've hit the truck. Come on, Carl. You have got to save some of that water. It's nothing else.
Stay back, Hans! The firemen take off another gas tank!
Got to take a chance. We need water. Give me a hand. Huh. Who was killed, Geppo?
Everyone, I think. Except me and Manny. They were all on the truck.
Here's one page. Take it quick.
All right.
I've got a check here, Hans. Manny's got one. You better get away before that other gas drum goes.
Yeah, the fire's all around it. Come on. Yeah. 4 of us left. 4 other way left. 7 of us dead. This is far enough. All right. Put them down. Those were German planes.
They may come back, Hans.
Why? They did a good job. Greetings from the fatherland.
Too bad we couldn't get the food off the truck.
Some of it was blown clear. I saw 2 cartons over there in the sand, and we have 36 liters of water. That should be enough.
Enough for what, Hans?
To take us to Tel Aviv Oasis. What else?
But, Hans, that's only the beginning. Somehow I didn't think the desert was so empty.
So? Well, it is not empty behind us, Manny. It's full of firing squads. We just had a sample of what to expect. Would you like to go back for more of it?
Hans is right. We made our decision, so why change it? We knew there would be trouble.
What about the Arabs? They get paid a bounty to bring in the service. We still have our pistols. What odds do you want before you'll play? There is an empire waiting in the south, waiting for the 4 of us. Ours for the taking. All ours. 4 kings. Equals. Brothers. Kings of the Niger.
Glorious thing the way you say it.
Yeah. It's the carrot dangling at the donkey's nose. Well, no matter. I too am a donkey. Shall we start?
"7 a.m., November 30th. Made camp. No danger now from planes, but it's too hot to travel during the day. Also, more danger from roving bands of Arabs in daylight. Morale is bad. Carl is the worst. Always cynical, tongue-in-cheek. I should not have picked him. The other 2 can be led. Ought to reach Tel Aviv Oasis in 3 more days. We have to reach it. 4 a.m., December the 3rd. Rest halt. Expect to find Oasis by dawn or soon after. Gippo acting strangely. His nerve is gone. Carl does not change and may prove the strongest of the 3 in the long run. Though he doesn't believe in anything, he doesn't fear anything. Neither do I. 8:20 a.m. We found the Oasis.
Look! Water! Trees and water! Trees to hide us from the sun!
Please. My empire. 3.
Oh, no. Hans? No, there's no water. It's dry.
Huh? Sometimes it's below the sand. You have to dig for it. Here. All we have to do is dig down.
It's no use, Hans. Somebody has dug down. There are holes all over here. 6 and 8 feet deep. Dry. Bone dry.
You said there would be water, Hans. Trees and shade. The trees are dead. And there is no water, Hans.
Therefore, stop it. All right. There is no water. That's that. We'll have to reduce drinking rations, of course. It will take us a week to reach Avil Mak, the next oasis.
A week and a half, Hans. It's the best.
And if it too is dry, then what? It's the end. I will go no farther, Hans. You lied to us, promised us water. Blinded us with your dream of empire.
We still have water. We still have food. We will go on.
Hans, among brothers and equals, I think all should have a voice in the decision.
So, very well, speak up then. What is it you want?
Let's turn back and take our chances. We could rejoin some other unit. They wouldn't shoot us.
Better yet, we could look for the British columns and give ourselves up. It's better than dying in the desert.
And you, Carl?
I'm inclined to go along with them, Hans. It was a good idea, but it didn't work.
I see. Very well.
Hans, what are you going to do?
Hans, you can't drive us across the Sahara at the point of a gun.
I don't intend to. I am removing the clip, dropping it on the ground, and returning the gun to my holster. Now, if any one of you attempts to turn back north, I will kill him. At the moment, I am unarmed, so if you wish to give up and go back, you'd better shoot me now. All of you have guns? What are you waiting for?
We wouldn't do that, Hans. Shoot it on cold blood.
I will shoot you, Manny, if you try to turn back. Well?
You devil. You know we can't do it.
You are given the chance, though. All right. Time is up.
That was quite a gamble, Hans.
Yeah. Why not? There's an empire at stake. All right now. Let's march. (9:15 p.m., December 8th. 5 days south of Delamille, at about the same distance from Adelmac, in spite of forced marches in the heat of day. Jeppo increasingly worse. I watch him constantly. Manny weakening physically but seems mentally sound. Carl? Who knows? I myself am gaining strength. The dream of empire. How can food and drink even compare with it? Why do the others not see it? They are fools. Fools and cowards. We rest here an hour and then go on.
Hans?
What is it, Geppo?
I've got to have water, Hans. My throat is killing me and my head screams inside.
We all feel that way. You had your ration when we stopped.
But I'm dying. I begin to hear voices speaking to me from the sand, whispers in the wind, strange sounds all around.
Let them have an extra ration, Hans. We don't have to cut it that short.
No. We'll stay on the ration we set and make the best of it until we get to Adelmac.
No, I can't, I tell you. Don't move anyone. I'll shoot anyone who moves.
Jeppo, put away that pistol.
No. I'm going to drink.
For the last time, Jeppo.
Beautiful, clear water.
Hans, you killed him.
You fool. You just sit there and let that water run out on the sand. There.
Kill
Kings, equals, brothers. Except for Brother Geppo. 3 kings now, huh, Hans?
You saw what he did. He defied all of us. I have mutinied.
How can a king mutiny, Hans?
In emergencies such as that, someone has to act and act quickly. It was his own fault. I don't feel any better about it than you do. You'll look at it differently when we get to Adelmac and find water. Everything will be all right then. You wait and see. 2:45 p.m., December 16th. Our progress grows slower. Day or night, we stop now only when we drop exhausted. We rest an hour and go on. The large oasis of Adelmac is still 5 or 6 days away. There will be water at Adelmac. I must keep saying that, believing it, making Carl and Manny believe it. It is only the strength of my dream that drives them on. How to make kings from such material? A problem indeed. 3 p.m. Time to go on. Are you ready, Carl?
Any time.
Manny?
Hans, I have to rest a little while longer.
We have been here half an hour, Manny. And we stopped only an hour before that.
No, but just 5 minutes, Hans.
Try getting on your feet. You'll feel better standing up.
I don't know.
Here, Manny, I'll give you a hand. Yeah. There you are.
Thanks, darling. Touching to make.
He'd have to be carried.
Well, if we take it in short hauls, I'll get his left arm here.
Leave him alone, Carl. Move back.
Maybe with a little help.
Get up, Manny.
As I can't move.
Then you understand that we cannot take you with us?
No, Hans. No.
You cannot leave him here like this.
Let's go, Carl.
No, please.
At least we can move him under the shelter of those rocks, leave him some food and water, come back for him after we found the oasis.
We have barely enough water for ourselves. We can't afford to waste it.
Waste it?
There's no use arguing, Carl. Let's go.
And if I don't,
I will kill you. Now move.
Hans, please. No, Carl.
Manny, Goodbye, Manny.
No. No, don't leave me.
He has no right to accept anything else. I wouldn't if it were me.
How can you be sure, Hans?
It is a matter of either him dying or all of us dying. I feel bad about it, too.
You're bearing up well.
Well, one of us has to. We cannot give in to sentimental weakness.
Speak louder, Hans. Manny is screaming in my ears.
You are imagining it, Carl. I cannot hear him.
I know you cannot.
Seven p.m. December 19th. Today has been the most terrible of all. There was no wind, and the sun flamed with a fury impossible to describe. Our minds play strange tricks. Around noon, I seemed to hear Manny's voice calling behind us. We have 1.5 liters of water. No food. 11 a.m., December 20th. A half hour ago, we sighted a flock of birds, but Carl says it means nothing that they can fly for 1,000 miles without water. I know the oasis is near. I keep hearing Manny's voice. (7:10 p.m., December 21st. An hour ago, we stumbled into the Abaknak oasis. There are birds by the thousands for the killing and eating. Ripe dates, firewood, and water. Pools and rills and ponds of water. Water. I must have eaten a dozen of them. What kind of birds are they, Carl?
I do not know. Partridge, desert quail of some kind. What difference does it make?
None, I suppose. I only wondered. Yeah, it's quiet moonlight.
Yeah.
And water. All the water anyone could want.
Yeah. Enough even for Manny and Geppo. You keep hearing Manny's voice, don't you, Hans?
Of course not. What makes you think that?
Because I keep hearing it, and I have less reason than you.
Carl, you have to realize that a leader is forced to do things against his nature, things he doesn't want to do. I'm going to be...
Hans? Thought it was we.
Yeah, well, I mean we, but anyway, that is the thing that has to determine every move, not our personal feelings.
Maybe so, Hans. Incidentally, it is not we. I am not going on with you.
What do you mean?
Just that. I am staying here at the oasis, Hans.
You can't. What will you do here?
Eat and drink, sleep and think.
But there is an empire waiting for us. You are completely insane.
No, Hans. You are. As mad as any man could be.
Don't say that, Carl.
There is no empire waiting for you.
There is.
No, Hans, because you're insane.
Don't say that.
But fools we were to follow a power-drunken madman off into the desert. Power and the love of power, the old destroyers, and the trail of violence and murder they leave behind them.
But I had to do it, Carl. I had to sacrifice Geppo and...
The old story, the end justifies the means. Only it never does, Hans. The end is created and shaped by the means. You've sown violence and death, and you'll reap violence and death.
No, there's an empire waiting. It's mine, Carl.
You are as crazy as
Don't
noble,
say that.
hearing voices babbling about an empire.
Carl, don't say that.
You're insane, Hans. How plain you...
I told you not to say it, Carl. I warned you. It was your own fault.
The same way it was Geppo's fault?
Huh? I didn't kill you. I missed. I am glad I missed you, Carl. Huh? Yes?
You are insane, Hans. You're hearing things.
No!
It's all in your head, like Manny's voice.
No, you're wrong. I don't hear Manny's voice.
Maybe I ought to talk louder, Hans.
Manny? No, it can't be.
How about me, Hans? Don't forget me.
Geppo! That's a trick. You're all dead.
Of course, Hans. We are dead and you are insane.
No, don't say that.
It's quite a joke, really.
It's the diary. Yeah, I wrote you into it, and that's what makes you stay alive. If I take you out, you'll die and go away. Yeah.
Don't you understand?
Out of peace. And then you'll stop it and go away?
It's all in your head, Hans. Why don't you laugh?
There now. Now you stop. Huh? You're hiding there. I see you behind that tree. There, by the rocks. Over there. You can't stop me. I tell you there's an empire waiting, and it's mine. I'm going to be a king. Take the gun. You can't stop me. None of you can stop me. I'm going to be a king. Do you hear me? A king.
Some strange things come out of the desert, Colonel Bouger, but never one so strange as this.
Huh? Here, let me have the glasses.
A man, I think. One can hardly be sure.
Yes, it is a man. Dressed in rags, burned black by the sun, stumbling and staggering. Now, what could bring such a one to the Niger?
And from where, sir? There's nothing behind him but 1,500 miles of desert.
And we will ride out and meet this remarkable traveler.
Yes, sir.
Africa. After 30 years of it, it is still as much a mystery as ever. Well, we shall see.
His skin blistered to shreds, and yet he lives.
Life clings to shreds in Africa. Bonjour, monsieur.
His eyes. He appears not to see us.
Are you ill, my friend? Where do you come from?
You are wrong, Carl. You can see now that you are wrong. For I have an empire. I have 1 million slaves. What did he say?
It hardly matters. It was not addressed to us.
All three of you laugh. But now you see. They bow to my will, serve my slightest wish.
Who are you, monsieur? What is your name? Can you hear me?
Thousands of miles, Carl.
Empire of the Night.
What do we do with him, sir?
And I am the king as I told you I would be. Huh? A king with 1,000,000 slaves. What do you say now, Carl?
Take him to the fort. Protective confinement. Make the usual report.
You laughed. All of you laughed. You called me insane.
But how shall I refer to him in the report?
But I showed you, all of you.
Who is he?
I won. I am a king.
You heard him? He's a king.
The king of the Empire of the Niger.
Eh bien, take the king away. But those who struck southward into the terrible vastness of the Sahara soon found the blazing days and freezing nights and the dry and lonely cruelty of the desert far more formidable than any mortal foe. Few of them were ever heard of again. Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Diary of a Madman by Les Crutchfield, starring Ben Wright. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, Paul Richards, Edgar Barrier, and Barney Phillips. Editorial supervision is by John Meston, and the special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week. You are trapped in a snowbound cabin in northern Canada. The temperature is slowly dropping. While across the table from you, his eyes staring at you, is your only companion, a madman, waiting for his chance to kill you. So listen next week when Escape brings you Anthony Ellis's terrifying story, A Study in Wax. It's 30 minutes of fun, laughter, and entertainment when the Bob Hawk Show is heard tomorrow night. Bob Hawk, the quizmaster who's never at a loss for words, who puts words together so that they lead the contestants right up to the LEMAC questions. You'll laugh and learn, for the Bob Hawk Show is fun for everyone. Hear it tomorrow night on most of these same CBS radio stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. America now listens to 105 million radio sets and listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
Rice Checks and Wheat Checks, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Commander Corey is in a spaceship trying to contact Cadet Happy, who's in a spacesuit on the surface of Neptune's second moon.
Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy. Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy on Neptune number 2. Happy, disregard previous orders. You can break spaceophone silence. Come in, Happy.
Cadet Happy here, Commander.
This is Urgent Hap. Gargot's men have orders to keep you from reaching the scout ship.
I know.
One of his gang's right behind me now with a blast gun.
Better surrender, Hap. There's nothing else you can do.
But, Commander, I've got to reach that ship. I'm low on oxygen. In 5 minutes, all the air will be gone.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival. Hey, Space Patroller, it's getting kind of late, and I'm getting kind of hungry. Hey, let's take time out right now for a big bowl full of rice checks.
Swell, Captain Twofellow. Rice checks. Tops with me.
Tops with me, too, Space Patroller. And it'll be tops with you, gang. Tops 3 ways. For taste, for size, for get up and go. There's one bowl. And here's one from me. Space Patrollers, when you fill up your own bowls with those neat triple toasted shredded rice biscuits, you're getting one spoonful after another of the easiest, tastiest bite-sized eating ever, because rice checks are tops for taste and size, and tops for get up and go, too. Mornings after you finish off a good, nourishing breakfast with rice checks, you'll see what I mean. You'll be right there with the right answers in school and the right scores in sports.
If you like whole wheat, try wheat checks. It's tops, too.
So look for rice checks and wheat checks in the red and white checkerboard packages with a picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside.
And the swell Free Space Patrol trading card inside.
Rice checks, wheat checks. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival. For 1,000 Space Patrol cadets, today marks the beginning of an adventure. These 1,000 cadets have been selected to take part in the annual survival test to pit their skill and courage against the rigors and problems of outer space and the simulated opposition of an enemy force. Of all the cadets chosen for these tests, it's safe to say that only one is disappointed with the assignment. That solitary individual is Cadet Happy. Glumly, he sits in Commander Corey's central office at Space Patrol headquarters, staring at his special orders.
Oh, all the times for this to happen.
Bad news, Happy?
The worst. I'm on the list for the survival tests. Now I can't go with you to Pluto. Unless you could sort of...
No.
I didn't think you would, sir. Well, it's up to me to take my turn, I guess.
What kind of assignment did you draw, Happy?
A real cream puff deal. And here's what the orders say. Cadet Happy will pilot Scout Ship T681 to Neptune Moon number 2, landing in Sector D4 at 0800 hours Universal Star Time. Upon landing, the ship will be considered inoperative, including all weapons and spaceophone equipment.
Oh, you're to act as though the ship were knocked out of action.
Yes, sir. And then it says, you will attempt to reach the communications outpost in Sector F9 by 2200 hours without revealing your presence to enemy forces concealed between the two sectors.
Sounds interesting.
Spaceophone silence will be maintained throughout the entire operation. Enemy forces will be provided with special long-range ray guns that will register hits on the sensitized outer coating of the spacesuit. Big deal.
Sounds like fun, huh?
Fun? It's kids' stuff. Here I'll be sneaking around craters playing hide-and-seek with other cadets that are pretending they're the enemy. What's the good of it?
Don't get the idea this is just a game, Happy. You'll be testing new equipment. What you and the other cadets learn in this survival test might easily help to save a life someday.
Well, I suppose so, Commander, but... Gee, if I could go to Pluto with you, I could have some real excitement.
I'm not looking for any big adventure on this trip, Happy.
You're not? But if this Steve Hegdorn is as tough as Morton says he is, and if he's part of the Cobra gang...
If things go the way I plan, Hegdorn won't have time to get tough. You see, when I walk into Hegdorn's office in Pluto City, I'll be in civilian clothes. He'll assume I'm one of Morton's men coming to make the regular protection payoff. When he accepts the money, I'll take it in for extortion.
And maybe get a line on how we can find Gargoth.
Right. By then you'll be through with your survival test, and I promise you that you can help get Gargoth and the rest of his Cobra gang.
Okay, Commander. But I still wish I was going with you instead of to this garden party on Neptune's moon.
The training command doesn't plan garden parties, Hap. These tests are going on all over the solar system. Every detail has been worked out by Space Patrol officers who have been through the mill. You can be sure they've planted some obstacles to take the cockiness out of anyone who doesn't take the test seriously.
Oh, I'll be on the alert, Commander.
Good. Obey every order to the letter. And good luck, Happy.
Thank you, Commander, and same to you.
The Zenith Consultant Service occupies a small suite of offices in the Phobos building in Lowell City on the planet Mars. A curious observer might notice that a peculiar assortment of people pass in and out of the office during the course of a week. But then a consultant service would be expected to welcome various types of people in need of consultation. One would never suspect that the Zenith Consultant Service was a device to hide the operations of a syndicate of criminals, a respectable front for Emil Gargoth, leader of the Cobra Gang. At this moment, Gargoth is consulting with Rex Kralin, who has just arrived from Terra.
You're very enterprising, Kralin. But frankly, I don't see how this schedule of Space Patrol survival tests is of any interest to me.
I just thought you ought to know that these cadets are likely to pop up anywhere for the next few days.
What do I care about a lot of rookies? Let them play their games.
But, Mr. Gargoth, there'll be 4 units crawling all over Neptune Moon number 2.
Moon number 2?
Now, look here at Problem 9. They picked an area right near our underground storage station.
All the desolate places in the universe, they had to pick this one.
Of course, the station is well hidden, but just by chance they might stumble across it.
Yes. And we've got thousands of credits worth of stolen goods there.
There might be time to get it off the moon before the Space Patrol tests begin.
I don't have the ships available. What kind of activity is going on in that sector, Kralin?
Here's a chart of the area. Cadet will start here, at this point. Try to work his way to here. There'll be about 20 men scattered all through here, in the craters, acting as enemy opposition.
Oh, I see. They're chasing all over this region, trying to capture that one cadet.
That's right. Actually, they won't have to capture him to put him out of the game. They've got a special ray gun that projects a pinpoint beam. It's harmless, of course, but it produces a photochemical effect on the spacesuit. The suits in the test have a thin coating sensitive to those particular rays.
All right. If he gets out of the game early, they'll go home. Is that it?
Well, yes, those in that particular problem will.
Then let's hope a dumb cadet draws that sector.
It isn't going to work that way. That assignment goes to Commander Corey's sidekick, Cadet Happy.
Kralin, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for. We'll capture Cadet Happy, and then we can make Corey come to terms.
Capture Corey's cadet? But, Mr. Gargoth, that's...
It'll be easy. I'll have a ship drop you off on Neptune's second moon before the cadet gets there. You can grab him before any of the other space patrollers see him.
Me?
Oh, you're the ideal man for the job. You were in the Space Patrol once, weren't you?
Before I got kicked out.
Here's your chance to get even. Now listen. Here's the way we'll work.
Those who are forced to deal with Steve Hegdorn on the planet Pluto regard him as a man dangerous to trifle with. Surrounded by brutal thugs, Hegdorn exacts tribute from law-abiding citizens and from lesser racketeers alike. Too intimidated to report to the Space Patrol, his victims continue to pay the increasing demands of Hegdorn. Those who live in dread of Steve Hegdorn would be greatly astonished to learn that there is one man in the universe that Hegdorn fears.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Gargoth. Truly I am.
Your being sorry, Hegdorn, doesn't make up for the fact that you're 5,000 credits short.
I know. It's that Morton account. I got my men out now trying to locate Morton. He may have left Pluto City.
That's your problem. I put you in charge of my affairs on Pluto because I thought you could handle things efficiently.
I appreciate that, Mr.
Do you think I have time to get on the space phone to find out why you can't collect from your clients? There's no place in the Cobra Gang for incompetence, Hegdorn. If you prevent Morton to get away with this, others will try it.
I'll get the 5,000 from Morton, I promise.
And get this, Hegdorn. If the Pluto quota is short by as much as 1 credit next month, you're through. Cobra out.
Oaks, come in here.
Yes, Mr. Hegdorn.
Have you found Morton yet?
No, sir, but the boys...
I'm not interested what the boys think. Find Morton, get that 5,000 credits. There is no place in this organization for incompetence. Now get out.
Elsewhere, a small scout ship has just landed in Sector D4 on Neptune's second moon. Out of the ship steps Cadet Happy in a spacesuit. In his hand, he carries a ray rifle, a harmless training weapon capable only of making a tiny dot on especially sensitized objects. As he walks across the craggy surface of the satellite, Happy reports his actions into a compact micro-tape recorder that's part of his spacesuit paraphernalia.
Cadet Happy assigned to survival test problem 9, Neptune 2. Orders of procedure have been followed exactly. I landed the scout ship in Sector D4 at 0800 hours. It is now 0803. My suit spacephone is turned off. I am now carefully proceeding south by southwest towards Sector E10. So far, no sightings of enemy units. Oxygen pressure normal. External temperature 203 degrees below zero. Internal suit temperature plus 68. Normal.
In Pluto City, a studious-looking young man carrying a document case enters the office of Steve Hegdorn. Even Buzz Corey's close associates would have to look twice to recognize the Space Patrol Commander-in-Chief. Not only is he wearing civilian clothes, but he has modified his confident stride and allowed his straight shoulders to assume a scholarly slump. Looking up from his desk, Hegdorn scowls at his visitor in an intimidating manner.
Yes, what is it?
I'm here representing Mr. Morton.
Oh, so you're representing Mr. Morton, huh? You're his lawyer, I suppose.
Well, not exactly.
Well, if Morton sent you here under the impression that I'll dicker with you over his fees, he's mistaken.
I've got the money here, Mr. Hegdorn.
Oh, well, that's different. Let's have it.
Well, 5,000 credits, isn't it?
That's right. And you can just inform Mr. Morton that he better pay up on time after this.
Here's the money. Count it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000. Right. Now get out.
I'd like a receipt.
Receipt? I get it. Morton wants to be sure you gave the money to me, huh? All right. I'll just make it out for services rendered to Harvey Morton. There you are.
Thanks. Now, Hegdorn, you're under arrest.
Under arrest? What for?
Extortion and intimidation. Here's my identification.
So you're Commander Corey. I was expecting you, but not till later.
Usually I prefer a more direct approach to criminals, Hegdorn, but you've got your victims so intimidated I had to get evidence on you personally. Come along.
Get him up, Corey. Corey, the man behind you with the ray gun is Bull Oakes. He handles my rougher assignments. I advise you to do as he says. Get him up.
Short.
No. Boss, help me. Let go of that gun. Hold him out.
Corey's quick as a cat. Nearly broke my arm. You haven't slugged him.
Stop babbling, Oakes. What kind of a bodyguard are you when I have to rescue you?
How did I know he was going to turn on me?
Well, keep an eye on him. If he tries to get up, slug him. I'm going to space-phone the Cobra and tell him I captured Commander Corey.
On Neptune's second moon, Cadet Happy cautiously works his way along the shallow fissure, from time to time reporting his progress and observations into the microtape recorder built into his spacesuit.
0857 hours. The black shadow of the mountain extends across this fissure 100 yards ahead. When I reach that shadow, I've just sighted an enemy scout. He's coming toward me. Apparently he doesn't see me because he's making no effort to keep covered. He'll be an easy target for the ray rifle. It's a shame not to warn him, but rules are rules.
Look, Cadet, put away that silly ray rifle and get out of that ditch. Your survival test is over.
This must be one of those special obstacles Commander Corey warned me about. This fellow may be an officer trying to trick me into breaking space-phone silence.
I'm telling you, Cadet Happy, this isn't a game. Maybe this will prove it to you.
Smoking rockets, that was no ray rifle. He's got a real blast gun. That shot chipped off a hunk of rock 3 feet away.
There, Cadet. That ought to prove to you I'm not with the Space Patrol. Your make-believe enemies are 5 miles away. Now throw that useless ray rifle down and come with me. Oh, and if you're wondering what's going to happen to you, well, that's up to the Cobra.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment.
This is Dick Tufeld in St. Louis reporting on the twin-jet Air Force fighter, the McDonnell Voodoo XF-88A. In a moment, we'll hear from the noted test pilot who flies this plane, Phil Houghton. Speed of the Voodoo is a military secret, but it's plenty fast. Wingspan is 40 feet, length 55, weight 10 tons. And now, Phil Houghton, recorded this morning at Lambert Airfield.
After seeing the Voodoo, I guess you know why I like my job. There's one thing about it, though. A test pilot has to stay in good condition, get lots of sleep, and eat good, healthy food. That's why I like rice checks and wheat checks for breakfast. They've got plenty of energy in them, and they really taste swell. I think you'll like them, too.
No other cereal, puffed or flaked, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So do as Phil Houghton, J. Ray Donahue, Jr., and other top test pilots do. Make your cereals rice checks and wheat checks. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, Test for Survival.
Emil Gargoth, leader of the criminal syndicate known as the Cobra Gang, has learned that Cadet Happy is taking part in the Space Patrol survival tests on Neptune's second moon. Knowing that the test rules prohibit the use of suit spacephones, Gargoth sent one of his men, Rex Kralin, to capture Happy. Armed only with a harmless ray rifle, Happy was powerless to defend himself against Kralin's deadly blast gun and submitted to capture. Meantime, on the planet Pluto, Commander Corey has been overpowered by two other members of Gargoth's gang, Steve Hegdorn and Bull Oakes. Right now, Hegdorn is in a private space cruiser, heading sunward from Pluto, with Commander Corey lying on the deck of the control cabin, securely bound.
Hegdorn calling Cobra. Hegdorn aboard cruiser P1150 calling Cobra. Hegdorn here, waiting for further instruction. Come in, Cobra.
Cobra here. Go ahead.
Where do you want me to take Corey?
Send a vector toward Mars. I'll give you further instructions later.
All right, Mr. Gargoth.
Have you got yourself covered back on Pluto?
Sure. I left Oakes there to destroy all our records. Don't worry, there won't be anything to involve you.
See that there isn't.
You can depend on me, Mr. Gargoth. Incidentally, I got that 5,000 credits mortar node.
Destroy it. You fool, don't you realize Corey marked it so the Space Patrol could trace it?
I guess that's right. Oh, incidentally, Corey's acting pretty stubborn. He says he won't tell you a thing.
Oh, he'll talk all right.
That's what you think, Gargoth.
For your information, Commander, one of my men has captured Cadet Happy.
You're lying.
Am I? Right now, your cadet is in an underground hideout on Neptune's moon number 2. He was captured during the survival test. He'll talk all right, Corey. Or something very unpleasant will happen to Cadet Happy.
In the Cobra Gang's underground hideout on Neptune number 2, Gargoth's agent Kralin holds Happy at the point of a blast gun. Both men are still in their spacesuits, but with their face pieces open.
So you're one of the Cobra Gang, are you?
That's right, Cadet. My name's Rex Kralin. Gargoth finds my knowledge of the Space Patrol quite useful.
Yeah? How do you know anything about the Space Patrol?
I used to belong to the organization. I was dishonorably discharged when I was unable to explain how some of my buddies' belongings were in my possession.
A thief. A rotten thief.
Where did your honesty get you, Cadet? You're in a hopeless spot. Me, I'm sitting pretty.
Oh, are you? There are 20 space patrollers in this sector of the moon trying to find me. They'll keep searching until they do.
And they're armed with harmless ray rifles. I've got a blast gun.
Cobra to Kralin. Cobra, calling Kralin.
Yeah, there's the boss. Now, you stay where you are. Remember, I'm watching you every second. Kralin here. Go ahead, Cobra.
Is everything under control there?
Perfectly, but how do I get off this moon?
Take the cadet and work your way back to scout ship be landed in Sector D4. Now, listen. Don't let anything happen to him. I want him back here alive.
Okay, but suppose he gets tough.
Put him to sleep with a cosmic ray gun if you have to. Then carry him to the ship. I want Commander Corey to know the cadet is alive, so he'll do everything to keep him that way.
I get it. When Corey finds out we got the cadet, he'll come to terms.
He already knows it, Kralin. And what's more, we've got Corey, too.
What?
Hegdorn got him on Pluto. Corey's on his way to Mars right now in Hegdorn's cruisers.
Hey, that's great. Now we got... Hey, come back here.
What's the matter?
That cadet made a break for the airlock.
You blundering fool, go after him. You've got to stop him before he gets to the ship.
You aren't so cocky now, are you, Corey? Now that we've got Cadet Happy.
If anything happens to him, Hegdorn, I'll get you and Gargoth. It's the last thing I do.
The smart thing for you to do is to forget those threats and give Gargoth the information he wants.
Cobra to Hegdorn. Cobra calling Hegdorn.
Hegdorn here. Go ahead, Cobra.
Quick, Hegdorn. What's your position?
Near the Neptune orbit. Why?
That idiot Kralin let the cadet get away.
What?
As he's out of the hideout and probably headed for the scout ship. How long will it take you to reach Neptune moon number 2?
Oh, I'd say about 15 minutes, maybe less.
Then change your vector. You've got to make sure the cadet doesn't get to that ship.
But, boss, we can't land a ship there during those survival tests. Those space patrollers will spot us.
No, they won't break spacephone silence except in an emergency. And by the time they realize there is an emergency, the cadet will be finished.
What do you mean?
The cadet won't surrender to Kralin and blast him with the space torpedo. Get away before those men on maneuvers know what happened.
Listen to me, Gargoth. If anything happens to
You
Happy...
listen to me, Corey. Want to save the cadet, do what I tell you. Get on the space phone and order Happy to surrender to Kralin. Understand?
All right, Gargoth.
Hegdorn, switch to the space patrol frequency. I'm sure Corey will tell you how.
Okay, Mr. Gargoth.
And watch him. Don't let him try any tricks. Cobra out.
All right, Corey. What's the frequency?
672.3 megacycles.
Stand up, then. I'll set it. Go ahead.
Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy. Commander Corey calling Cadet Happy on Neptune number 2. Happy, disregard previous orders. You can break spacephone silence. Happy, can you read me?
Cadet Happy here, Commander.
This is urgent, Hap. Gargant's men have orders to keep you from reaching the scout ship.
I know. One of his gang is right behind me with a blast gun.
Better surrender. There's nothing else you can do.
But, Commander, I've got to reach that ship. I'm low on oxygen. In 5 minutes, all the air will be gone. Kralen's firing at me.
Hit the dirt, Hap.
That's enough, Corey.
Hey, darn you dirty rat, if my hands weren't tied.
Go ahead. Pull. Pull on those ropes. They'll only get tighter. Go ahead. Pull. You can't break them.
So I couldn't break them. Don't reach for that gun. I said don't reach for it. Just lie there and don't cause any trouble. I'm going to get this ship to Neptune number 2.
With his oxygen supply getting lower with every breath, Cadet Happy crawls across the rough, barren rocks of Neptune's second moon, trying to keep within the inky black shadows. Steadily, Rex Kralen advances toward him, blast gun in hand. A few hundred yards away, the scout ship rests where Happy landed it many hours before. A few steps more, and Kralen stands over the exhausted cadet. Carefully, Kralen adjusts the power control of his spacesuit transmitter, limiting it to the range of less than 50 feet.
I heard what you told the commander. Your oxygen is about gone. You'll never be able to make it to the ship under your own power, so I'm going to have to carry you. You hear me? Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to turn your transmitter volume down, just in case. If you're hoping any of your pals on maneuvers are going to come to your rescue, forget it. Even with you on my back, I can make it to the ship in a few minutes. Now, look, Cadet, you're about gone, so don't try to give me any trouble when I lift. Oh, okay. All right, now. Hey, where's that light coming from? A spaceship. A private cruiser. That must be Hectorn. And he's looking for us. This is a break. I won't have to lug you to the scout ship after all. Look at him come. Hectorn sure knows how to handle the ship. Nice landing. It's only a few yards to the cruiser. Think you can walk it with a little help? I'll try. Now, come on your feet. This is a break. Now we won't have to worry about having to get rid of that scout ship. Well, the hatch is open. Say, Hegdorn's coming to help me. Hegdorn, can you read me? Hegdorn. Hegdorn, use your spacephone. It's okay. There's nobody within 5 miles of us. That's not Hegdorn. That's right, Kralen. Commander! I'm warning you, Commander. Don't come any closer. The cadet gets in charge from this blast gun. Kralen, listen. We've got to get Happy into the ship. He's nearly out of oxygen. The decision is up to you, Commander. Let me get to the cruiser, then you get the cadet to the scout ship. Can't you see there isn't time? And it's just too bad for the cadet. I'll finish you with a blast gun if you take another step. Cadet, let go of me.
Drop that gun, Kralen. I've got a sharp sliver of rock in my glove. How would you like to have it jammed into your spacesuit?
Let go of me.
Drop the gun, or you'll be in the same fix I am.
You haven't the strength left. Give me that gun, Kralen. All right, I'll get Happy to the cruiser. Go on, pick him up. Sure, okay. I'll get moving.
Inside the cruiser, Happy quickly revives. With a fresh oxygen bottle attached to his spacesuit, he helps Commander Corey transfer Kralen and Hegdorn to the scout ship. Now, with Happy at the controls, they've just blasted off from Neptune's second moon and are headed for Terra with their 2 prisoners.
Either of them will talk, Happy. We know Gargoth is in Lowell City on Mars.
Yeah, the brainograph will clear that up.
Yes, but too late.
How do you mean, sir?
Corbett calling Hegdorn. Corbett to Hegdorn. Corbett to Kralen. Kralen! Either of you answer immediately.
That's what I mean. Gargoth won't wait around long enough to find out what happened to his
Kralen!
man.
Hegdorn!
I suppose you're listening, Corey. Well, I don't suppose I'll be hearing from Kralen and Hegdorn. So would you please inform them that their services are no longer required? Cobra out.
Are you going to answer him, sir?
Not now. What I have to say to Gargoth, I'll say to his face, and that day will come sooner than he thinks.
Yes, sir. Smoking rockets.
What's the matter, huh?
I never did get to that communications outpost. I flunked the survival test.
Oh, I'm sure you can prove you passed it.
I can? How?
The best proof in the universe. You're alive.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. How will you have them, Space Patrollers? Out of the bowl with cream and sugar, or out of the box for snacks? Well, in case you haven't guessed, I'm talking about rice checks and wheat checks. Tops any way you eat 'em, any time you eat 'em. Tops 3 ways. 1 for taste, 2 for size, 3 for get up and go. Rice checks. Triple golden toasted shredded rice biscuits. Hollow inside, so they fill right up with milk or cream, and plenty luscious eating. Wheat checks. Good whole wheat. Super rich in action energy. The kind of action energy that made Buzz Corey Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. Oh, you'll love wheat checks from the first to the last delicious bite. And remember, gang, checks are made in that modern bite-sized design for the easiest, breeziest, tastiest eating ever. So, Space Patrollers, this morning, tomorrow morning, every morning, have yourself a good, nourishing Space Patrol breakfast with rice checks or wheat checks in the red and white checkerboard packages with the full-color picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the neat, free Space Patrol trading card inside. Rice checks, wheat checks, tops for taste, tops for size, tops for get up and go. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are trying to escape from a mansion on the planet Venus, where they're held prisoners by Emil Gargoth, leader of the Cobra Gang. Suddenly, Happy moves toward a large cabinet and opens it.
Wow, is this a break, Commander? Weapons, ray guns, blasters, paralyzers.
Take a couple of ray guns, Happy.
Something just made me go to this cabinet, a real strong hunch.
No, Hap, take the ray guns. Those are blasters. Put them back.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm not arguing, sir, but wouldn't the sight of a blaster have more effect on Gargoth?
All right, it doesn't matter. Let's get careful, Happy. You're pointing the gun right at me. Lower your arm.
I can't. Something's controlling my movements.
Happy, lower that gun.
I'm trying to. Commander, my finger is squeezing the trigger, and I can't stop it.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Secret of Dr. Borodak, when Rice Checks and Wheat Checks again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Ken Mayer, Norman Jolly, Bela Kovach, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Rice Checks and Wheat Checks again present Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program in your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.